Hello, and welcome to the What's the Crack Irish Bodybuilding Podcast. We are back. Now, this has been long awaited because the show itself was 2 weeks ago, but we are here. Myself and James Melville, head judge, will be reviewing the PCA Ireland from 2 weeks ago. Now, this was a quality show, James. This one.
Yeah, it was a absolute standout, and even Warren had mentioned that this was probably the best lineup that he had seen, not just in Ireland, but one of the best total lineups that he's seen in terms of fullness of the show and quality, even across the UK and stuff this over this last couple of seasons. And that's a testament just to how good Irish bodybuilding is definitely coming. So it's phenomenal to see.
Yeah, I thought it was a real like sort of standout, especially the overall lineups were like that could stand anywhere. Like any of these guys, potentially these cup three, maybe probably 3 to 4 of them have potential to be PCA pros
Yeah,
within, well, if not already handed it in the next year or so. So yeah, it was cool. I thought it was really like proud Irish moment there. And I seen it, like, do you know what I mean? After being across in the water as well.
yeah. Yeah, it's just seeing the likes of Warren's face, and even Nadia, there was a few times whenever there was some of the categories coming out, we were just like taking a second, like looking, going, this will be a headache, and there was like a lot of decisions that are difficult to make, particularly whenever it's really close between spectacular athletes, because there's a pressure on trying to get it right at the same time. So yeah, I think like us going through this today, we'll try and go through it reasonably swiftly so we're not boring people, but we'll really just try and touch on the main takeaway points for each athlete as well.
Yeah, yeah, it was a tough job, made tougher by the quality of it as well. I think for you, there's a
Yeah,
few times I was like, I don't know which way I would personally go with this either. So it made it very interesting. Right. So it's a similar
yeah.
setup to last time. We'll go through numbers and we'll find the name, we'll find the lineup. So we
So
started
the
with
first timers we have, yeah, we've got number one, two, three, and four was the first timers bodybuilding. See if we've any, I don't know if we've any of those numbers.
yep, the number
Nope.
four, Sean, and here. So we'll go into the
We've
line.
Sean, yeah,
Start with a front lat spread. So yeah, it's his first timers again. Like pretty strong lineup. There's, all three guys I would say are sort of standing out. Initially, I'd seen all the. I feel that in a position where I can talk on the first half of the show because I was away doing a bit of the interviews for the second half. So I'd seen all these guys.
yeah. So I think that you had actually tapped on to Sean's there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So he was number four.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can see there on the right hand side. So I'll start with him because he's obviously purchased his photos. So we'll give a shout out to Stephen Black as well, who once again has done an incredible job with the imagery. So Sean, like as you can see, yeah, I think like for first timers, all four did a really great job. But we can see like three of them, notably from the front, you can see a lot of sort of condition and stuff there, which is really presentable. I think the polish of the tan looks good. The guy number two probably looks a little bit pale as well, so that's something that he could definitely adjust moving forward. So the top three, I believe, got British and Uni invites, and so Sean, the feedback that I'd given him, he had reasonable stage presence. All of the guys could definitely improve their posing, but again, this sometimes is like synonymous with first timers. There's always going to be critique, even with advanced athletes. You can still find sort of flaws and things that they can adjust. We'll come to that wee bit later with a few of the top end athletes as well. But I'd said like reasonable stage presence. The overall feedback I gave him, which is the personal feedback, is a great overall package. Needs more in the lower half and improved condition, most notably from the back is where we're talking about. Loads of potential here with a great taper, and there's really nice condition in the upper half. That was what I was really looking at there.
Sean was in second place here, was he?
Yes.
Yeah, like I mean, it was close.
So
Number the guy in the far left, the red, he was the winner. It was like, and his condition here looks really, really good. But again, I think sometimes, like, and he was in good condition. Sometimes the photos can throw it. When you're moving through transitions, it really highlights true condition.
yeah,
That's the difference, I think, of being there and just viewing it in photos. Because the winner, I wish I knew the names, but is through the glutes, through the hamstrings, he was nice and tight. His presentation, although yes, you sort of highlighted it, could do a wee bit of work. It was still, I thought it was the best presentation out of all four of the guys there in the
yeah,
lineup.
yeah. His name's Connor. And again, I thought it was really polished, good trunks, tan looked really on point. I think the glaze, everything there was just popping too. Those all little small components really do make the difference in terms of presentation. And he was like one of the smaller in the category, but actually had, you know, not a lot of things actually missing from the physique. The feedback ad says great first showing. You would like to see obviously a little bit more width. That's a long-term project through the back. But I had written down otherwise a very impressive package, which it is. You can see there a really nice separation in the abs as well.
Yep.
If we can touch on number three, which is Eric. Eric placed third. And again, you can see there he was the biggest in the category in terms of total muscle mass. And like I says, a lot of muscle, needs to improve the presentation, which will definitely showcase the physique a lot more. And even the present, whenever I'd said to him about like improving the condition slightly, a part of that is also, as we talked about there, the presentation, the ability to actually contract and showcase the condition that you have is very, very important. And those are small details that can make a big, big difference.
You know, not all three of those, the top three, anyways. There, like condition was decent. There's always a little bit more
Yeah,
room for it. And I think like with the guy in third, like there was a lot of muscle mass when I'd seen him on there. Like even through the legs, it's just digging them out a little bit more. You know, again, we always say this sort of
yeah,
it's a first timer, and sometimes that condition comes with a little bit of maturity or even dieting experience to allow yourself to go to that next level of conditioning. But like they're at a good class again for a first timer class. I thought this was really strong. Like in the midsections, everybody's got a
yeah.
decent section there. So there's a lot of positives to be taken there. And as a first timer, there's always going to be critique. You want that critique as a first timer, especially.
Yeah, and you can see like the versatility of first timers. That's why I kind of really love the class because it really is just a mixed bag quite often because there's no age restriction. You know, you can see there. I'm assuming Connor's quite young and early on, potentially in his pursuit of being a bodybuilder. So he's plenty of time there. All the guys have plenty of time, but we can see there he's quite youthful. I'll just touch on that sort of the abs and thigh, like making sure that we sort of have the hip pop back a little bit. It's going to allow that detail to come up through that rec fem right up into the hip. And quite often the abs thigh, I do sort of think if you've got detail, spike at least one of those legs forward a little bit.
I'd agree. And that's the thing. I think sometimes when it comes to the ab and thigh with less experienced guys, they sometimes forget about the thigh component and it's just crunching down really hard the abs and it can narrow you off a little bit as well. And I think even that you can see that a little bit with Connor. He's nearly pulling himself down and he's not the widest
Yeah,
comparatively. So he nearly loses a little bit of width by doing that. But his midsection does look it does look quality there.
yeah, lovely symmetry through the abs there. So, would you want to move on? I'm just hoping that these here are laid out correctly. We did have one in the first timers classic bodybuilding, who's number six. Don't know if you've got any
We have him here. This is
images of him. So again, like most of the time, it's only going to be people who have purchased the photos that we're going to have access to in terms of individual photos.
we're gonna have to bear with us here. This is had a boo boo. So number six we're looking for here.
Yeah,
You said there was one in that class, wasn't there? He was qual. If I remember rightly, he was
yeah,
quite good, like as well. I think you'd seen him in the natural show down at the weekend there as well.
yeah.
Six. Let's see. I don't actually think he's purchased photos, unfortunately, to be able to go through. That was the thing that we sort of said the last time. You know, if you haven't got photos, obviously we can't review you, unfortunately, or if somebody else in your class hasn't brought the photos, then we can't review.
Yeah.
No, six isn't there, unfortunately.
So we have the next one was the juniors bodybuilding, 23 and under, and we have number 8, 9, 10, 11, and 13.
Right, number eight. So this is James Nugent's photos that he's purchased. So the lineup of this, another pretty strong lineup for juniors. This one, I had a
This was a great,
very good lineup. Actually, all
yeah.
very competitive on this. So, but I think we can probably run through all of these guys because they're all of they're all good quality there. So James Nugent, I believe he's in the far left here. I think he came fifth in this class.
He was fifth, yeah. He got a British invite, and quite often, like whenever, even if you do have big classes, you can place fifth and still get sort of invites to essentially the next stage, and those are opportunities for you to just refine, take the feedback, and bring an improved look to that international stage. That's a great experience. I'd recommend any of the guys, if you've successfully came to a door and opened the door, walk through it. Don't, if you have the ability to, don't leave your seasons without a good opportunity to sort of mix things up and try different things, particularly for the younger guys as well. So yeah, James, I'd said like great showing. Just it's a mass thing. He just needs a little bit of time, uh, and just keep doing what he's doing. Keep trying to build that physique through.
I mean, yeah, the same there. James is like just probably a little bit less development maybe than the rest of the guys there. Still a good physique, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of potential there because you can see even through the chest, even with a little bit less development there, he was very well separated through it. He had decent legs again,
yeah,
maybe just weren't quite as tight or as much sweep to them, but it's a good physique for a junior. It'd be interesting to see some of the back photos there too. Just always like to have a comparison of front and back when we're doing these,
yeah, yeah,
and a little
yeah.
bit
The
there.
condition from the back you're always going to see too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, James just a
So we
little bit
have,
less tightness from the rear, and then we had on fourth spot.
yeah. Again, fourth spot we had number 13, who was Toby. And I actually really liked it. Like he had great quads, man. Really nice shape. That sort of nice bubbliness from the hip right through to the knee. So the sweep was nice and complete through that lateral head. Enough sort of density and detail through the quads as well. I thought like the top four were very, very good here. And the top four got invites to both the British and the uni as well.
This is I'd seen Toby a few times this year competing, and this was definitely his best look of all of them. He had a few issues with his tan prior. The tan was a lot better, and as you say, he's quite round as well for a young lad. As well, like through the
Yeah,
legs. You said he was quite round. Chest actually had a good bit of depth to it. Again, it could probably be a little bit tighter in conditioning if he's going to be challenging the top three there. But it's not a
yeah.
million miles off, pushing for that for sure. But really nice quad
For
sweeps.
me, Yeah, for me, Toby, the main thing I'd said was class quad sweep and actually a really nice V taper through the top half of the body as well. Just needs more from the back, just more overall density from the back, lower that area. You can kind of see here. Uh, the other side of that as well is packing the glutes through. That's going to be something that we talk about a few times. I've touched on this before, whenever you pack the glutes forward, and it's kind of known as the scared dog, squeezing the into a posterior pelvic tilt. It pulls the iliac crest downwards and then it'll lengthen the lower lat. So even if you have density in the lower back, you tend to lose those. But the reason why most people do it is they're trying to squeeze 10% harder into their glutes to bring more glute detail. But for me, then, whenever you do that, you kind of trade off quite a lot of the other strengths to your physique, including the adductors and the density in the lower back. So those are things that are worth playing about with whenever you're practicing your posing.
It's a good point there. That's something you'd actually raised with me myself personally last year. I was so like
Yep.
obsessed with the glute lines that I lost a
Yep.
lot of leg thickness by always overpacking it. And sometimes people are trying to squeeze glutes through when maybe the glutes aren't necessarily there. I find that, like you said there, there's a balance point between showing enough through the glute, but not sacrificing adductors, quad sweep, hamstring thickness as well. So as you say, it's definitely worth playing about with that and maybe not being over focused on the glutes, especially if they're not like all the way in. I think sometimes you're better finding that
Yeah.
sweet spot with it.
I think in terms of like we're judges, we're watching you guys in real time. So even if you do pack the glute through and then just sort of shift the pelvis back out a little bit, you're only like maybe coming back out of it maybe 10%. And that means you're going to be able to pop the adductors a little bit more, bring a bit of density to the lower back, but still showcase off that detail by packing through and then coming back out. So you're like sort of flashing that depth to the and density to the glute. So I think we go into number three, who was Phoenix.
Phoenix is my
He's
just
Yeah, I was going to say,
biasly about him, but he had a good year. He progressively got better. I think like we had him in BPA and PCA Northeast the week before, probably a little bit flatter this week, I felt, but it's still a good condition, but just a little bit flatter than he'd been before then going into the universe the week after there. We look, which we increased a little bit more fullness there. I think with Phoenix, to me,
Yeah,
he's got the bags full of potential if he's to take now a couple of years out and grow this physique. And I think that's really where he needs, because every week there, his condition's always been, very good. It's been, even if it's been 5%
yeah,
less, it's always been very good. He just needs more mass now because there's such a big frame there to fill out. And when you see the top two guys, they have more mass. They have more mass there, and that's
yeah.
when it comes down to it, that's where he's getting beat. But lovely clean midsection, good striations, through the majority of his upper body, starting to get a little bit of glute detail and quad detail coming through. But he can be very, very good, in my opinion, anyways, in a couple of years' time here.
I agree completely. I'm a big fan of Phoenix, not just as a bodybuilder, but just as a general chap. You know how well that he articulates himself with people, and communicates, and you can see that he actually loves the sport, and that's so refreshing to see. As somebody that sort of competed in bodybuilding really before I was ever on social media, you've different reasons nowadays for doing things, and you can see that he loves it. The fact that you mentioned that the week before he did the BPA, and then you guys I think flew out the next morning,
And we booked the
or
flight that night to Newcastle.
like that's mayhem, but I think I respect that a lot. And then a week later, having that turnaround to come back and do this show, and I completely agree with what you said. So I've nothing really to add from a negative perspective whatsoever. He's so much potential. Even last year, the improvement that he's made this year as well. But last year, even whenever Warren seen him at the workshop up in Derry, that we all met up with, like people could see even Warren was like singing his praises and saying like you can really see the ability that this kid will have, and it's just a
Warren,
time thing. It's going to be incredible to watch.
Warren came to him at the end of the universe and says, please just take a year and a half out. So that's all the feedback you need now to go and take a year and a half out, I think.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And look, because you can see there across the top line. That's one of my favorite poses of Phoenix is his front lat. Really nice top line. Again, just as he continues to add density, because he's got actually a really nice V taper there. Just adding a little bit more meat to those areas is just going to really highlight the strengths that he already has. So it's fantastic to see.
And then when I
So
went
we have,
top line, Rowan, we'll go with Rowan as the second place. Ronan even, sorry.
yeah,
He very, very good, very wide from the back, very good conditioning. I mean, I think really what's separating him between first place is maybe one of the best juniors that I've seen in the UK this year. So, it's not to be sniffed at for sure. Like I've been to a lot of shows, and Logan, which we'll touch on, like is all the potential in the world to be generally go a long, long way in the sport. But Ronan there himself,
yeah,
like again, he's good conditioning through the legs, maybe a little bit, we could probably build that up. I know he came from men's physique, so he probably just needs a little bit more density through the lower half if we're picking at things that need up at this minute in time.
yeah. Completely agree. Like you can see the clavicle width there that across that top line. I didn't know he came from men's physique, so that's a lot of respect for that as well. Just moving up, developing that lower half. The only thing, the feedback I gave him was very good, very good showing in an amazing class. And let's get that straight. This is an amazing class for junior bodybuilding. It's just class to see. Really good depth to that lineup. So I'd say it's like very good showing, amazing class, loads of muscle and a nice level of condition. It's just for me a little bit more mass in the hamstrings, um, and maybe a wee bit more in the lats as well. You'll see from the back will just sort of create a wee bit better of a balanced profile from front to back and top to bottom. But like again, you're talking about small levels, and with these juniors have plenty of time on their side as well.
And then our winner, Logan Ferguson,
Yes.
he was excellent. He's
So
been
yeah, Logan was great. I kind of made a wee bit of a boo boo with the feedback with Logan, and I actually spoke to him. I was speaking to him last week. So bear in mind, after the PCA on Sunday night, I had flew out had a wee bit of work to do in Budapest, had a wee bit of downtime as well, which was nice. But went across, and there was guys that were sort of messaging me for sort of feedback. Now, one of I had said, and it's weird to say this, but two things can be right at the same time. So I'd sort of mentioned about his fee taper, which is absolutely phenomenal, and from the front, the condition was like really sharp. you can see there, like his front lat spread as soon as he walked out and he kind of hit that pose, me and sort of Nadia, I could see the whole lineup, the judges just sort of going, what is that? Because he had, and then, but sometimes you can see like really nice sort of V taper from the lats from the front, but whenever they turn to the back, sometimes you don't see the density. He had the density there as well. His scapula just seems like it continued to move out to a different postcode, you know what I mean? So that is just class to see. Like a junior having a back like that is bonkers. Shoulders. Now, what I had said was condition, and obviously you can see his strength as a V taper. So what I said kind of contradicted myself, but I meant what I said, and I had to message him and explain it. So I said his strength was his condition and his the V taper. But another side, if he was a wee bit more conditioned even through the rear, it would further enhance the look of the V taper. So that's kind of what I meant. But to clarify that, because I think somebody had said there was like copy and paste. So I just want to sort of explain whenever I'm doing the feedback, right? So whenever I'm doing the feedback, we do have drop down boxes. You have to understand that we have 100 plus athletes that we have to try to get this data through. Now, in this class, this is also whenever Nadia's laptop was starting to die, and I was having to try and find a plug, and eventually had to plug into Stephen Black's thing to keep, because the laptop was kind of turning off. So anyway, I got it on, and then I have to write in a personal note, and we're the only part of the PCA that actually do that. So anything, if it's a wee bit confusing in the drop downs, I can clear up in the personal note that I add to that as well. And I'm not the best typer. I'm not the quickest guy. I'm this guy, but I try my best to make sure that I sort of clear up anything that's been put down in the feedback and maybe enhance or elaborate a little bit on that as well. So, like Logan, what can you say? I just says it's a fantastic package and the condition is almost perfect. I'm like, you really just sort of nitpicking whenever you said it could be a little bit tighter, it could be a wee touch more separation through the likes of the hamstrings and stuff there. But I was saying the condition is almost perfect. You're talking a very marginal amount to bring the absolute best out of the physique that he currently has.
Yeah, I mean, I back you up on that because I find from doing these, the last year now, like it's actually nearly easier to critique the top guys and girls that are doing it in a way,
Yeah,
because we can look at Logan and go, you could just say, if you wanted to, like I'm sure plenty of people will go, Logan, you're just fantastic. But
yeah,
where do you derive something from that? Because condition is excellent, but it for Logan to like an extra touch on it, as you say, through the like mid back, lower lat. If that's in, Jesus Christ, and just to give an
yeah,
example, actually from last year was with Jill Wade, because we all hold Jill in very high regard in terms of her athletic abilities and her competition history. But I remember at Galway last
mhm,
year, we said like Jill was the winner. Her condition was still very good, but Jill had been in better condition and we'd seen her tighter. So the feedback would be in that particular circumstance, more condition because we've seen it, we know it's there. So like I don't think anybody should take bad to that because you can be in good condition but still bring a little bit more, in which case it can just take your physique to completely the next level. So that's that would be my opinion on it. And Logan is an unbelievable bodybuilder. Like I think he's 20, which is absolutely terrifying.
that's that's wild. So,
So
so he did. Whenever I communicated with him on Monday, I was like, "Going, look, just want to clarify because we were supposed to be doing the podcast before, or so
yes,
like last week, right? So I was like, going, look, we're going to be doing the podcast at the end of this week, and I'm sure Nadia she couldn't make it and stuff just with work commitments, and so that was a wee bit of an issue. So that's why we're doing it tonight. But I said so Logan says, look, I want the feedback. If there's critique there, I want to take that on so I know sort of what directions that I want to go. So realistically, it's just continue to build on everything that he has. Now, the one flaw that I would say that throws the balance off a little bit in a few poses is just a wee bit more in the arms. I think if you can bring up his front shot again, even like the probably the most muscular, and you can even see it in the side chest as well. So either of those two shots would make um would be able to see that.
yeah,
So for me, because his shoulders are so developed and so round and bubbly, I would just like to see a little bit more overall thickness in the likes of the arms. In terms of everything else, he has everything else there. So it's just long term. It's just whatever he is doing, do all those same things. The only thing that then you need to change potentially to your program is look at exercise execution for the biceps and triceps and
Mhm.
just try to develop a little bit more overall upper body or upper arm mass. And that's like, what else can you say to
Yeah.
somebody that's almost fully complete at 20 years of age, which is bonkers?
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm very impressed with him. Generally, very, very impressed with him over the time. Like, I think if he'd have
Yeah,
done the universe,
big future.
he would have done a lot of damage in that. From what I've seen. So, right.
Yeah,
Next up, we have, is it classic we're into now?
we have novice bodybuilding.
Right. No,
And
16.
we've got 15, 15, 16, 18, 37, and 100.
So another pretty strong big lineup in this one as well.
Yeah.
So
So we
we
have the top four being placed here. Yeah, this was actually really, really good. Nice wee lineup. So I believe like we had Stephen, who's in the middle there. He's a UK athlete. I've definitely seen him on the scene before. And again, he seems to just love bodybuilding. That's like I think over the last couple of years, I've seen him do loads and loads of shows. I think actually this is the best that I've physically seen him. I think I've definitely been at least one show that in person that he's been competing on as well. So he's definitely, I thought his condition actually looked really, really clean from the front. Um, Again, just with his frame, it's adding a wee bit more mass to the physique. So he did place fifth, but I thought that that was a very good look, and he got a British invite as well, which I know that he was extremely happy about. So that's really good to see.
I think from the rear, is where we could probably
Yeah,
see because in the front he looks a little bit. He's certainly tight, pretty tight through the quads and stuff, but through the hamstrings, through the
yeah.
glutes, just a little bit more. Like there's more condition through there needed, comparatively, especially comparatively to the other guys in this particular lineup.
Yeah, so my personal note that I had written for him was nice condition overall, but a touch more through the glutes would be a bonus. And for me, look, it's all about whatever the level of the athlete is. It's the feedback is only to try to get that person from where they are to a little bit better. So as much as we're not here creating like an ingredient for success for everybody, but what we are is just giving a little bit of direction to, okay, these are things that I can do maybe short term, and these are things potentially I need to work on in that long term. So the short term is essentially just a little bit tighter through the back and glute area from the posterior side, and he's going to be an improved physique. So hopefully he continues throughout the rest of this season as well. Number four, we have Aidan Scullion. And I know Aidan, like, as you know, we've ran posing clubs and workshops since 2016 at the compound room. So we've had a lot of athletes that came through our doors to be part of those workshops. And Aidan, years ago, was one of those young guys coming through. And like the feedback that I gave him, because it's nice I can give the feedback to some of these guys because I personally know them from that scene. And I'd says has improved a lot from the last time. Actually says you've improved a lot from the last time I've seen you. So just keep doing the same in order to continue to add more tissue and great job. So without a doubt, the best that I've ever seen him.
His condition was pretty balanced from the front and back as well. We had a kind
Yeah,
of it's muscle mass really because the quads there's some feathering, in the quads. From the rear, he was pretty well conditioned, especially when you compare the rest of the lineup. It's just mass, isn't it? It's just a
yeah,
bit of muscle going on there. So it's a good look. It was a good,
just more mass.
yep, good package.
I would say to him to definitely look at what way that he's leg pressing and even squat patterns because we can see there like the likes of the VMO the sort of medial side of the quads like really developed just needs a wee bit more sweep. So working more on that sort of lateral quad is going to just allow you just to create a better balance from top to bottom in those front shots.
Yep, for sure. Third was
Uh,
Dara, I believe, in this one.
Dara,
Yeah.
yeah.
What was so?
Um,
Yes, because obviously you judged Dara at the first timer show a few weeks back. Do you feel
yeah,
it was an
that's
improved
right.
package from there?
I did think it was improved. I thought that he had a lot more sort of fullness as
Mhm.
well. He's
Mhm.
obviously got a lot of muscle. There's areas that he'll need to continue to bring up, obviously, but Like he's got a lot of muscle. You can see there in that most muscular pose. Condition was probably maybe marginally better than it was those weeks previous. I think he could definitely push it a wee bit more because the problem that you have is whenever you see somebody who's got decent development or detail through the glutes, but then if he keeps pushing, does he lose more of that upper in terms of the back because he's not as thickly dense through the back? And that's always hard as a coach to work that balance. Like how much more can we push to bring more glute detail and hamstring if they don't have like thick density in through the back area there?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we'd say I think Dara's improved his package there that week. Like he definitely brought more fullness to it. With that, I think came a little bit more condition. But probably the same feedback applies in terms of because I know he's wrapped up for the season. So like long term, I think the legs are good, man. Like they're there, they're sweeping. The hamstrings are pretty dug out there as well. I think I'd said last time a little bit more through that mid back, through the lat area, and then probably a little bit more through the chest. So that torso generally, I think that would be one of the main areas to come up with it. And probably even looking at like
Yeah,
midsection as well, because I think some people are blessed to a degree with abs. I don't think Dara's one of them, maybe like myself. So actually probably some more direct work on the midsection just to have that place through a little more if we can get a front shot in. But I thought it was improved package, I thought it was conditioned. I thought for a first season, it's a very good look. And as you say, there's plenty of muscle in areas. It's just bringing up
yeah.
some shots like that side leg. It's pretty damn good.
The legs are brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, everything you said there, I'd actually given him that feedback as well. Long term, bit more density in the chest would complete like almost like a perfect top line. You look at the sort of the shoulder development looks really clean from the front. Just a wee bit more density through the chest, I think will definitely work. The lower body is slightly ahead, so it's ensuring that you prioritize that with sort of program design as well. You know what I mean? So whether that's decrease a little bit of the volume in the lower half in order to be able to allocate a little bit more into the upper, whether that's through frequency or just more working sets.
I love that problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. It's better that problem than the other way, I
Oh,
think.
I
So,
know.
so we
Right.
have number two is Mustafa.
Yeah. I see Mustafa at NABA
Uh,
Cup 3 weeks prior to this, 2 weeks prior to this. He actually improved a lot in that short time frame in terms of condition, enough to definitely bring him
yeah,
up into that sort of top 2, 3 range. So he did like big improvement actually in a very short space of time. I was quite surprised.
yeah. For me, there was a lot of indiscretions with the posing. You
Mhm.
can see there, even like for me, that's the kind of it's renowned. People call it the motorbike, the Harley. There's simple things that you can do to just make the overall look of that physique a little bit better. I'd literally just says, look, lovely physique, nice condition, and a great future ahead. If we were talking about his weakness is the structure in terms of the width of the waist from the front. So that kind of takes away a little bit of the sort of taper.
Mhm.
So the only thing that you can continue to do then is just continue to develop that quad sweep, continue to add a little bit more back width, and that'll sort of taper that waist in a little bit more. So those are probably the main areas that I would look at for sure from the front profile.
Yeah, agreed. Just trying to build a bit more on that X frame because of the hip structure being that little bit wider. Not a lot you can do about that
Yeah,
other than roll around it,
yeah.
really. And then we have our winner was Nuno. Is that correct?
No. Yeah. Um, I just said like a little bit more density in the lower body, and I'm talking that's just for the long term. And again, we're talking about small amounts. I thought like the condition that he had, the upper body was just really nice. There was a nice level of fullness. The condition was really crisp. Um, it's actually a phenomenal look. Like for a novice bodybuilder to come in and it looked really polished. I think Wardy was prepping him, maybe was he?
That's a Wardy client there. That's a polished look.
Yeah,
Like I thought full, like
really nice look.
dry. Like my only critique would
Yeah.
be like, I felt some of his posing was a little bit shaky at points, but that's being picky because I actually thought he was a really good physique. I don't think he could have landed like much better on stage. One of those ones. It's like for where he's at, current point, it's pretty damn good. Like,
Yeah. I think he did the BPA the week before,
yeah,
if I'm right. And to be honest, you could see that he looked even improved there a week later. So whether that's just sort of different concepts or slightly different approach into the peak, whether it was just having that extra week, I don't know. But for me, it was a really, really nice quality look.
Just a little bit more over time. But yeah, good look. Another good class, like some very good classes there. Headache to start your
Yeah.
day off, really, with them. It's like, but it's nice to judge like
Whew.
competitors for sure.
Yeah.
Like we have,
So we have classic bodybuilding short.
what's numbers that, James?
So we have 20, 21. It's 20 to 25, and then 28 as well.
Right. Go
This is
Jordan.
a pretty big class.
Yeah, this was a big class. This is another one of these ones. This is like, I thought this could have went either way. I think it's one of the the best classes of the day. Actually, enjoyed this one. It was a bit of there was a battle. Some really good competitors brought different qualities to the
Yeah,
lineup itself as well.
I
Like
loved it.
that's a good class. I mean, right from
Yeah,
whoever came last, like the last is unfortunate in this sort of lineup because they're all actually pretty damn good here.
yeah. If we could sort of maybe run through, we'd only got placing the four here. Although I'll give feedback to everybody, some of them don't get placed depending on what we're calling out. But if we sort of work through the sort of top four, so we got number 25. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's Stefan.
I was impressed with
And I
him.
actually love, yeah, I
From
actually really liked this condition. And I thought it was a really great routine. I just said bringing a wee bit more mass in the lower half again, just creates a balance because he's actually nice and wide across that top line. So he's got a really good structure there. It's just continuing to build up, I think, a wee bit more in the lower half.
my genuine thought, what was this guy's name? Sorry, because it was, I don't want to,
Stefan,
Stefan, was like, to me, he was giving me some bodybuilder vibes, especially compared to
yeah,
some of like the more classically shaped competitors that placed above him. Because I thought his condition was
yeah,
pretty damn good. I thought there was density in areas of that muscle as well. That I'm like going,
yeah,
this guy's somebody that could quite easily jump into bodybuilding and probably place very well. And that's something that I personally, if I was him,
yeah,
would consider because he has a small enough waist, but when you see compared to the class winner there. Like it's the big difference in structure that you can't really get away with as much in classic. You either have it or you don't to a degree.
yeah. I think that's probably a fair point. Be interested to see from the back shots. We can maybe look at those in a wee second. Um, but we'll keep this screen up now, and we'll just sort of
Yeah,
touch on these, will we?
yeah, do that.
So we'll go into third position. So we had Dylan.
Mhm.
So you can see him in the far left here of the screen.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Dylan. It's been great to see him at the first shows. So obviously he did the first timers earlier in the season here, several weeks back. And I really loved the look again. The feedback that I gave him, the obvious bits is like phenomenal presentation. I think like he really knows his strengths with the physique and poses them really, really well. And again, it's classic bodybuilding, so there has to be that element. And there's a real sort of polish about the way he presents his physique for classic bodybuilding in particular. So he's definitely in the right class for sure. I'd said phenomenal presentation, very good classic posing. Long term, a little bit more mass in the glutes and a wee bit more back width. Just overall back density and stuff is what he needs to continue to work for.
Yeah, agree with everything. Like there's posing, fantastic. I really enjoyed watching his posing. His polish, I thought again, it's one of them. It's like, should he be much better for where he's at? Because it's one of them. Like the glutes maybe not all the way in, but like because he's not, maybe has the level of muscle mass in that top half there. You risk flattening that off a little bit and then losing the classic shape and the structure because he's
100%.
not the widest. He's not the widest, but he pulls it like some guys pull a vacuum. You're like, "Bleh," where he pulls a vacuum, you go, wow, that's classic. So yeah, I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
him. I think in the next couple of years, again, like really, like he's already dangerous, but I think he can be very dangerous when he
He
just.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think like he looks like he enjoys himself on stage, which for somebody walking on stage for the first time is really good to see. He's obviously put a lot of practice and stuff in because he has the conditioning for the posing as well. You can see him look very assertive in the posing, and yeah, he doesn't sort of. That's something we'll probably have to touch on with a few athletes, but just whenever you come around, and get into your pose, just hitting that pose and holding it is what you need to be doing. There's no sort of bounciness about it. So yeah, I think like long term, he's got a great wee future ahead. I can't wait to see it. And he suits the moustache as well. I don't buy into the tash too much, but with a lot of guys, but yeah, it suits him.
It does. It does.
Number two, we have Jordan.
Yeah, I take it with Jordan.
Yeah, so I want to
Go on.
I want to start off by just saying like Jordan, was it last year he was competing, or the season before last year it was, wasn't it?
I think it was last year. He went against Vinny. I think it was last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it would have been because I was judging at the show. So um, Jordan made a fan that day. Like I was like a real like a real fan, just as a somebody that has a lot of respect for hard work, um, nice physique, all those things. I think the feedback I had given him last year was a wee bit better, and some of the presentation would have showcased his strengths so much more. And that's how important things are. And like he's got a real bubbliness, particularly in the upper half. Really nice sort of insertions for the like the biceps, really thick tissue there, right through the delts. Chest looks really good. There's a good density to the likes of the back. The critique. I'll let you sort of touch on the critique
I think wise, like
first.
again, I agree with that. To me, like Jordan last year was my favorite athlete that I'd seen across pretty much any show I was at because there was a level of force. He was like
Yeah,
granite. Like he pushed guys that probably had no right in pushing in terms of the muscle mass that he carried
yeah,
last year. Like he was just granite. Generally, like I was a
yeah,
massive fan of the physique. This year, like being real, and he'd be the first to admit it because I spoke with him. Like I think we all expected more because of the standard that he came in with last time. He's definitely put on muscle
yeah,
mass there. I thought his arms come up, everything's come up. Maybe the legs looked not quite as much, although they probably have. It just doesn't give the illusion of it because he didn't come in with the same condition. In this show, I thought he came in flat looking as well. Especially when I seen him the week after at the universe, thought he's filled out for that. He still wasn't where he was the year before. So I think there just needed to be a touch more of it. And it's one of those ones because he was so good last year, it nearly played against him because there was an expectancy. And I think that's the thing. Once you have that standard, you can't really slip back from that. But I mean, I think Jordan can still take this miles and miles, but there's just a bit of rethinking maybe needs done in terms of the strategy, the peak. I thought his posing against actually still needed a little bit of work. And I think nearly he maybe knew he
yeah,
wasn't on. And when you know you're not on, you need to kind of keep your chin up still because he was sort of breathing through his stomach a lot. And then when it comes to classic, it's just a no-no. You can't do it in bodybuilding, you certainly can't do it in classic. So yeah, it just wasn't his best package. He was still good enough. That's the thing, because he is so good to get second place, but it just wasn't the Jordan that we'd seen beforehand.
look, it's exactly everything that I said, and even the feedback that I'd given him personally. It says a great density in the upper, needs more in the glutes and the quads, in my opinion, to balance that lower half. A touch more condition and posing control is needed also. And as you said, confidence plays a big factor. If I've been there myself before where I wasn't 100% happy with the visuals the morning of the show. And as much as you can practice and do your pose and then look really polished, if that confidence isn't there, it does take something from the performance a little bit. I think you do burn through oxygen a little bit quicker whenever you're having less fun.
Yeah.
I would just really like to see, because as you said, he was grand. The detail that he had last year. Whether I don't know if he's that much heavier this season. Maybe with added tissue, it's just going to be a refinement period to try to bring that same level of condition with the extra tissue. Sometimes that does happen. Hopefully he does. Maybe I don't know if he's wrapped it up for the season or he's intending to do more later in the year, but it would be good to see him back up because I'm a big fan of Jordan. I think he's so much potential.
He could get that right. That's the thing. If he went in September or something like that again, I think he could get it right. I think there was probably lessons learned
Yeah,
with new muscle on and how to come down and how to peak because it's different body when it's 20 pound heavier. Like trying to how to diet for that and keeping that fullness. But yeah, listen, Jordan will come back again and he'll be very competitive when he does come back again. I'm sure of
yeah,
it. And
yeah.
then a winner.
So we have in first we have Sintu, number 24. I think if we start off with um, the critique, and then go into like the strengths would probably be the best way to sort of do this, so we can finish on a high with the champion of this category. For me, it was just a conditioning thing. The only real critique that I sort of seen from the development standpoint, or not a development standpoint, was the condition. Particularly it was more notable in the rear, just a little bit more softness in through the likes of the glutes and the back. If he comes in polished, as he's moving through the rest of this season, he's going to be ridiculously dangerous. Insanely small waist for the amount of muscle mass that he has. As you can see, they're actually really nice balanced, sweeping quads, and nice and wide across that top line. What else do you need for classic?
Yeah, I mean, ridiculous structure, ridiculous structure. He was another guy that was men's physique as well, but if he was hiding in quads, I don't know, unless they come out of nowhere over the last few years. But yeah, I agree. Just a little bit softer. Looked a little bit. There's a bit of water as well from the rear. If that's
Yeah,
sharp, that's a headache for anybody in that class.
loads of potential. Yeah.
So
I thought like he had good confidence on stage. You could probably say the posing could use a little bit of work. Even again there, you can see the arms like more externally rotated. It's coming upwards a little bit into that motorbike position. If he drops them knuckles down a little bit and just pops the scap forward, it's probably going to just create a better overall silhouette, and he'll occupy more space on stage at the same time. But like he's going to be a mad one to watch in the future. Like,
dangerous, dangerous class that was.
yeah.
Very good. That probably my class of the day.
Yeah, that it was between that and for me, I really like the juniors.
Yeah,
That was two of my favorites, to be honest. Um, yeah, so we've got the tall class,
yeah.
classic bodybuilding, and it's 26, 27, 29.
There we go. Big guys.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. We'll touch on third first. So we will.
Yeah, so that's Shane, and he was number 29.
I mean, it's one of those like Shane's decent there. He's just standing against, particularly with Dara there. It's always gonna be hard to stand with somebody that is clearly of that level above. But we're talking about Shane there.
Yeah.
Like, again, a little bit more mass, a little bit more polish needed. I think with classic having a wee bit more through the arms as well, there's only going to be a good thing, and a little bit more lat just to sort of accentuate that like V taper as well. I can't right remember from the rear. Well, I'll have a quick look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually, the thing that I said was he's great. He's actually great classic lines. So whenever you're thinking about designing the initial phase of a blueprint of classic, it's nice waist, reasonably good V taper, quad sweep, etc., etc. Nice balance, not overly muscled is I think probably the right way to describe that. And he kind of ticks all those boxes. He's just at the start of the process. But for me, it's better to be at the bottom of I don't mean that he's at the bottom rung of a ladder, but I'll use this analogy. It's better to be at the bottom of a ladder that you want to climb than halfway up when you don't. So understanding what category that you need to be in, I think is very important. So you kind of know as you're climbing the right ladder. So he's definitely on the right ladder. Just needs a wee bit more time to continue to bring a wee bit more muscle across the physique. And short term, it would just be conditioning.
Yeah.
He just could be a wee bit tighter there, as you can see through the midsection as well.
Yeah. Great. Second, is that Gary? His name is?
Yeah, that's Gary Gillespie. I thought he had really good condition. It almost like showed more from the rear, I think, but uh, condition looked really good. I think it was probably that we touched more mass in certain areas that gave him second position in this lineup.
Big unit as well. That lat spread, it's clearly like there's a lot of width to that as well. I think because of the width in the top half, it probably needed a little bit more through the legs just to balance it out and sweep as well. I mean, it's always about lineups too. You're standing against somebody that has such a sweep, you're like, yeah, I need more sweep. But I think McGarry it probably does need a little bit more. His condition, I'd seen him a few times and I thought he's super hard and he's improved since his last show. I
Yeah,
remember him sweating a lot on stage last time. So like his stage presentation probably still needs a little bit of work, but it's come up a hell of a
yeah,
lot this time around. I thought it was a really good showing for him.
Yeah, there's definitely the feedback I gave him there was nice, crisp condition, more mass long term in the quads would improve the silhouette to complete a great physique. And that's, how I seen it. I also thought, as I said, there was like a nice maturity to the muscle, which is synonymous with people that's just spent time doing this stuff.
in the
Do you know what I
job.
mean?
Yep.
Time is a wonderful thing.
Our winner is Dara McNamara.
Oh yeah,
He's pretty damn standout. Like he's just off. I think the week after won his pro card at the Universe. I think he placed fourth there, if I may be right, fourth or fifth, fourth possibly. And then he took his IPV pro card this week as well. So
yeah, yeah.
a good few weeks for Dara there.
I think, and so I want to like start off with. I remember seeing Dara. I think that might have been 2024. He did the PCA Ireland
Yeah, against Fenton, he went against.
against Fenton. Yeah, and it's great to see what both of those boys. But we'll talk with Dara for now. It's great to see these guys just make the improvements. The if you try to compare the physique from now to 2 years ago, whenever I seen him on that stage, that was the last time I think I seen him in person on stage. It's night and day. He's just a completely different animal, and it's just so good. It's high quality work, just being consistent, and just again loving the sport. And quite often you see it's not just looking at somebody with a great physique and going they love the sport because some people are genetically blessed. Whenever you see the improvements that somebody's made in a 2 year window, that tells me everything that I need to know, and you can see the work that this guy's put in. And it's hard to critique somebody of that level and that caliber.
Yes.
But I did have like just like one of the main notes for me was a wee bit more in the arms. I felt you could probably say a touch more in the back long term, particularly now that he's in that sort of pro caliber. But from like the front shot is insanely good. The quad sweep, the shape, the waist is nice and tight. There's loads of potential for him to climb up the ranks, even in that sort of IFBB realm as well.
Yeah, I think that's it. Now you're now judging somebody, critiquing somebody in pro IPV Pro Leagues, well, no longer PCA, I'd imagine IPV Pro League, like probably just a little
Yeah,
bit in the back and arms, as you say. Like I think that was an area where
yeah,
weaker area for him, Dara, at the back. He's brought it up, but again, now to
yeah,
compete with the pros now at that level, probably just a little bit more through the back, and I'm sure that even the condition through the legs can get tighter and tighter as well, and a little bit more like separation.
yeah.
But again, you're picking at somebody that's in the top echelons of the sport now, and you know,
I
so
also think that he kind of jumped into this the PCA show here. I think earlier than he was intending to do. So although yeah, as judges, you still have to judge what's there. Even if somebody was intending to compete 4 weeks later, or 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, you still have to judge what you see. So if somebody's condition's not quite in, then that's still part of that feedback. But considering that, those are things even there you can see he's really knocking on the door to that polish with the condition that he needed. But for me, it's just the development for him to then climb the ladder of the IFBB in that category. It's just going to be a little bit more dense thickness or width in the back and a wee bit more probably in the arms. But from the front, I think he's already extremely competitive.
widely impressive. One of the best physiques I've seen on an Irish stage, to be honest, in terms of the flow of it and you know, I suppose the beauty and art of what bodybuilding actually is. He loves it. So like
Yeah,
absolutely fair play to him. Like
and I love this pose. Yeah, I love this posing as well. I thought his presentation was really good. So look, this is this is what we say all the time. There's so many guys wanting to earn like their pro card. I had a young guy speak to me, might have been today. I don't know. The days are molded, but talking about his ambition to turn pro, and he's only competed in one previous season, and he's a very young guy with areas that he still needs to develop. And I was like, look, you need to just spend time and focus on a plan that's directly ahead of you, not something that is maybe there in your future, but focus on the next bit. With Dara, it's just sorry, yeah, Dara, it's just for him now, he's in that realm. You're giving critique to somebody that's of that pro level. He's already been a pro before he's turned pro,
yeah,
is what I'm saying.
exactly. Like one for a long
That's a
time.
good example.
Yeah, exactly, James.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good physique. Right. We are into the
So
bodybuilding classes now, are we?
we
Sean.
had Masters bodybuilding, which was John Martini.
Oh yes. Has John bought his photos now? There he is. Big John come back after a long time out of the game. I think everybody was quite happy to
Oh,
see John back in the game. Legs, quads, fucking, that's the nickname. And Jesus, they live up to it. Like in person, they're just absolutely wild. They look like they got their own like life support. To be honest.
yeah. Yeah, he's got the feedback that I'd given him was like, great muscularity and has had some standout shots of the show, and that's something that's hard to do, and particularly the fact that it was like 9 or 10 years that he was away from the stage. And I remember because I used to go to all the shows back in the day in the Ulster Hall and seeing the likes of John go on, and so I was a fan of him even back then, and that he was still part of that sort of more hardcore element, I think, in the bodybuilding realm with like Graham McConkey and different people like that. So, and who he surrounded himself with, you could see that. So he's like come back under like a different character almost. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was a really nice moment to see him on stage, and I actually helped John with his posing this year, and I was so proud in his presentation for somebody that's been away from the stage for that long. I think he was, in terms of the static poses, he performed as well as anybody on that stage.
Yeah, that leg is wild. It's like Negzilla's legs. It's
Yeah,
absolutely like in terms of critique, in terms of feedback. I think John has like he obviously has standout body parts, and I think now I've seen John as well. Like I was a lot younger and didn't know what I was looking at back then, but I think there's some of the flaws maybe that were there back in the day are still probably flaws just comparatively because the legs are so good. Like, obviously the chest, I think there's a genetic component to it to some degree, in terms of where just the chest and upper pec thickness. And they come up and the back has come up a lot, but they're the two, obviously those areas. You're not going to say, John, go and get bigger legs, do you know, because that's
yeah,
there. But I think they definitely a little bit more as he will because he's back in it now, like bringing the chest up a little bit more to try and match. And I know, I'm sure he probably spoke to you as well about it, but his training volume, his training frequency for quads were just way, way down because the goal is obviously to bring the upper body up to try and at least try and be close to on par with those legs. So that's really the feedback there from my end. But he came in full and full as a house, like.
yeah. I'd sort of says like a wee bit for me there was something in some of the transitions just with the abs.
Mhm.
Just seemed like and bear in mind the guy obviously had seen him in person as well. And I thought um, a touch more dryness through the glute area would have been, and the abs would create or complete a phenomenal package, is what I'd said. Do you know what I mean? So there's some of the posing that you'll maybe see you can see the outline of the abs, but it didn't look as sort of as tight as what I'd maybe seen it. Now, from what I seen, he had done the universe there,
Yep.
um, and the photos that I seen, I was like, he looks improved in terms of all those things as well. So like these are fine lines that you're sort of nitpicking to try and say to somebody, look, these are things that you could probably address and fix or at least improve the next time you walk on stage, even if it's a week later, 2 weeks later, or whatever. So yeah, I agree with you what you said. Like he would even talk about the chest development in the back and the improvements that I seen this year in person. Obviously, he's working with Wardy as well. The improvements that I seen with his back as he moved through, getting closer to that show was insane. Because whenever I first seen him and he was hitting poses at the compound room, I was like going, "There's not a lot there to play with." But actually, once we start getting him set and the posing right, you could see the difference in how that back looked, and I was like, "That's actually not bad."
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what's next for John. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah, he's a top bloke, like, and his physique, like, I think it was worthy of a Masters Pro card as well on the day, like, so it was. So, yeah, fair, like, honestly, fair play. It's great to see him back. It's great to see an element of that, like, old school that we probably all fell in love with, still doing his thing, like, it
I
really is.
think I think John could yeah, I think John could do really well in that Masters Pro. To be honest, because obviously I've seen them. I think that he could do very very well.
It was interesting that I don't think they were particularly like happy with the place, and I could see why. I thought he could have definitely moved up a few spots over at I was at the universe,
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, maybe it's a matter of just cutting your teeth again, and I don't know, but he can go on and do well there another year like of doing the business that he's just done. It's be wild here. It will be good.
yeah, yeah. So we had masters over 50s, and I believe we had four in the category. So that's number 32, 33, 34, 35.
35, right. That's cool. Right. Another big class here. I think I missed this one. I did.
Yeah, so we had four plus John.
Yep.
John came on with them. So we have, let's get the numbers right. So in fourth place, we had number 34. Yeah, you can see second from the right. Um, third place, we had 35. Yeah.
Yep.
Second place, we had 32. You can see wearing the bigger trunks. And 33 was Robert, who was in first place. So I think like if we'll go through here. Um, Thomas in fourth. He says like loads of potential, and actually I really enjoyed his routine. Looked really good. Needs to improve his condition to showcase a good level of muscle that's there. So he actually has quite a lot of muscle.
Yep.
Legs are maybe a little bit downsized a touch in comparison to the upper, but conditioning could definitely improve the overall visuals of the physique, both from the front and the back as well.
Yeah, muscle mass is definitely there. You can see that in the shoulders and chest. It's as you say, there's a bit
Yeah,
more conditioning, especially in comparison with the other guys there. To bring that in tighter, a
yeah,
little bit plenty of muscle to show, but you just got to show it.
yeah, for sure. Third place, number 35, Tony. Nice level of muscle. Needs a touch more in the lower to create good balance. The condition does need to be a touch harder, and it was a great routine and a nice song, great song choice as well. So
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Even as you say with the pose in there, as you say, like maybe spiking that leg forward a little bit to try and drive it, because the lower half is a little bit softer than the top half, especially because the midsection is actually pretty good. Nice symmetrical
yeah,
abs as well. So it's just trying to highlight and show a little bit more condition through them legs to some degree. I feel like again it's the case of
yeah,
punching the abs and forgetting about the thigh.
yeah. And it's so important. Like if you don't have a lot of real estate in the lower half, you got to make sure that you present that perfectly. Every pose I explain to people, you pose from the floor up. A tree grows from the roots up. So you've got to set the pose from foot position. Make sure that you're working through this sequence to complete the pose, starting from foot position, what you do at the hip, therefore how you're activating the quad or hamstring, whatever the pose needs to be, and then set the upper body on. So a good sort of analogy is always thinking about if you come into your house, turn the downstairs lights on first before you go upstairs and turn them on.
You're always good with
So,
analogies, James. You're always good for analogies. You are.
I like that. I like a good analogy. Number 32 was Leon in the bigger trunks. So it just says need better trunks to display your
And you're going to
your
say
good
that?
condition, particularly from the front profile. Um, if he gets the trunks, make sure that the fit sit a wee bit higher because otherwise it's going to make the torso look a little bit longer as well. Um,
You'll find that with the trunks, don't you? Like, especially with them, because like it's like them, like the way classics started out, and it just completely cuts off any X frame. Like when they're sitting higher in the hip, it gives you that like illusion, and that just
yeah,
boxes you off straight away. Like I think that's why PCA don't necessarily ask for classic physique shorts in it because it doesn't really bring anybody's best look when you wear them sort of things. But his condition was good in the
no,
top. His midsection when he was flexing it like right and pulling it in and pulling his stomach in was pretty damn good. And you can see through the upper back there, through the shoulders, through the delts. They're actually pretty grained out there.
yeah, I agree completely. Tan can be a wee bit darker as you can see there too, which does help, particularly whenever somebody's really conditioned, like got good level of conditioning, a wee bit more tan. Presentation obviously could be improved too, but look at I always respect condition whenever somebody because most of us don't land the condition by accident. It's doing a lot of stuff that you kind of don't want to do for a longer period of time than you want to do it. So I have a lot of respect for that. Let's get to Robert, I believe, who placed first. He got his invites as well, and like what can you say? Great tan. I thought first of all, and really nice crisp condition. And like for me, crisp is what condition should be. Just like everything's there, you can see the detail. There's enough fullness in the muscle to showcase the strengths of that physique. Yeah, and I just say as a great over 50s competitor, really nice muscle maturity as well, as you can see.
Yeah, it's definitely when you start talking like over 50s, you can always go, right, the legs could do with a little bit more sweep and stuff, but at a certain age, trying to keep those legs, it's, we see it all the time, but the condition and the fullness, the crispness, you say, and a level of polish, because it is that like just lovely balance between like having the condition and having enough fullness to push it through. I really, really like that physique,
Yeah,
as you say, the tan. The skin even looked pretty damn good, like all that came into play there. Like it's a really nice physique for an over 50s masters guy. Really good.
yeah. I think like just giving John a wee bit of props and stuff there as well. Like you can see just the lovely detail in the quads and stuff there. The top line actually looks good. The chest actually looks good in the way that he's presenting that pose as well. But for me, like as you can see, just whenever he was opening the rib cage up, you could just sort of see that the sort of any detail in the abs kind of left a little bit. But other than that, you look at that physique, that top line looks so squared off. It looks really impressive. And
Massive.
from even though he's so heavily muscled in the lower body, in that pose, he actually looks really balanced from head to toe, which is class to see.
And I wonder is the stomach in terms of blurring the detail a little bit just because of like maybe pushing fullness a tad, in terms of the peak, because you know what it's like.
Yeah,
If there's a lot of food in your stomach, trying to really hit on them and control them might be a case of that. It's hard to it's speculative that to be fair, but just with the fullness that he's carrying
yeah,
there, like, he looks huge. But it's not about John. We've done John.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah. I just wanted to touch on him in that photo. He looks great. Looks amazing.
Right, we'll move on
So
to
we've got class medium, bodybuilding, 19, 36, 38, 39.
this is another.
There's on.
Another quality class. This one, like this, is a that was one of the
Oh,
best class twos that I have seen. I was quite happy that I wasn't actually in that one, if I'm honest. Damn.
yeah, it was a great class. I loved it, honestly. Um, all four got their invites as well. So that's just sort of as a testament to the quality of the athletes and stuff here as well. So if we start off with fourth, which was David, number 19.
I mean, yeah, it's really
Um,
good. I've seen him. I've seen David. I sort of got a bit of a relationship with him now because I've been at every show I've been at. He's been at. I think this is maybe his. I think this is maybe his best showing actually of the season because his tan was better than I've seen it in the past. Condition was good. Like the only thing I would say sometimes with his posing, particularly in the shots where you're trying to spread and open up, I feel like he's nearly like there's a gravitational pull in like that rather than like opening up
yeah,
and spreading it, and it narrows him off because he hasn't got the widest clavicles there. And I think sometimes he almost hides himself in some of the poses because his body parts are good. His quads are, the quads are decent. I'd like to see a little bit maybe more adductor in there because the quad is so like sweepy. But like, I thought it's pretty damn polished as well. There's a nice level of fullness but condition there, especially from the front.
yeah, yeah. I just says it's like particularly whenever you're in this lineup and you've other guys that have a lot of thickness and density to the muscle. I just says it's a little bit more mass. But I always like being clear whenever I say that. It's not like you're trying to build on nothing. You
Yeah.
need more mass. What I'm trying to explain here is it's a mass critique as there's great balance and condition already there. So it's literally just what's there, just continuing to add a little bit more density to that. And as you said, the posing for sure, he's a tendency to pop the delts up. And whenever you do that, you elevate the glenohumeral joint. That's going to pull your scapula upwards and it's going to lengthen your lats. It's not going to allow you to flare them out. It's going to pull them up. So popping that. So sometimes whenever people pop the shoulders up and they pull the elbows down, they think they might get a wee bit more out of the likes of the teres, so just in underneath the shoulder blade here. But you're going to just lose so much of the density in the lower lat area as well.
Yeah.
So it's not really worth the trade-off. I would just be always imagine if you're doing like a lat pull down and you're pulling your shoulders downwards and then go into the front double there. And the elbow, as you can see with most other guys, the center of the elbow is almost like in the center of the shoulder, and just allowing the peak to try to balance out with the shape of the deltoid creates a better line from that back profile as well.
Yeah, but he's good. He's good. With
He's really good.
assignments, he can
Yeah,
get into work because even the hamstrings glutes up and pretty dug out. Like he was good, man. It was just
really
a
nice
tough
conditioning.
class two to step
Yeah,
out in.
yeah.
Third.
Number three, third position, we had Andy, number 36.
I remember Andy from a few years back. I actually competed with Andy years back now at UKBFF, and he's another one that's just come on. I think leaps and bounds. Like I liked his conditioning. I thought it was quite like grainy, in certain areas, hard. Posing maybe could have done with a little bit of work again. Some of his presentation, like a little bit overly keen, maybe is the word I'm looking for. Is the phrase. It was very
Yeah,
almost like trying to overflex sometimes because his conditioning and his physique was good. His muscularity was good. Uh, Again, it was a nice physique. I just think some of the presentation let him down a tad. That would actually be my biggest critique of of his display and his package.
yeah. The personal note that I'd given him was in a very competitive class. You brought a very good package. Small improvements to presentation would bring a very high quality package. Like I thought, like he's not really missing a lot of stuff. Condition was pretty much where it needed to be, front and back. Definitely the condition or the presentation needs a little bit of a help here. Um, it's for me, it seems even in that front lat, if he sort of sits the hip back a little bit more, it's going to keep the detail in the upper thigh. And there seems to be what like maybe there's a wee bit of tightness in the rotator cuff because as soon as he's like maybe pulling them hands down, we can see the sort of traps coming up over the top a little bit. So, like, whenever you set that pose, you just want to imagine there's a string in the center of your rib cage and it's being pulled upwards. So you'll lift it up through the lower back and just keep the chest big. Would be the best way to sort of execute that pose. But again, it's small details on a very good package.
Yeah, agreed. He was good. I liked him. I like his physique. I like that kind of hardness and that dryness. Like to it, it stood out to me. Second place, number
Yeah,
39.
yeah, Connor.
Another quality physique. I think in some shots, like I think his front double, I thought, wow, I like that. I'm just going to click on that because I really like his front double. Because of his waist and his taper and the lats sort of bellowing out of that and its condition, again, good
Yeah.
from the rear, very, very good. Quads dug out. To me, like it just needs more. It just needs more quad, really. That would very much balance his physique out because in some of the shots, just because they don't have the same sweep and level of thickness, it kind of at some shots made him look a little more straight up and down because his upper body is good. It's wide as well into a small, or it certainly gives the illusion of width because of the small waist and how he held
Yeah.
it.
So this is the important part, and I want to reiterate this again. So we don't copy and paste information and feedback. We have a series of 8 drop downs that we're selecting pre-written criteria that fits that person for feedback. We then added, because I don't really like that because I could say something and then people take the completely literal meaning whenever I'm actually meaning something else. So whenever I said about conditioning with him, which is weird because his condition is perfect, but in the notes section I says the condition I'm referring to is a posing issue, as the detail you have was absolutely spot on. So it was like some of the transitions that he had, and then some of the set points of the pose as well. He just wasn't showing the detail that was there. So that's why that note section is so important. So me to clarify what I mean by that before somebody goes, I need to keep dieting. No, your condition is where it needs to be. You just need to be able to pose that better and hold it statically. Now, from the front pose, I'll not bore people with it, but from the front pose, I actually think if you go back to that first pose, you can see how Ben is hitting it. The femur is externally rotated a little bit, and the knees are popped out a touch,
Yep.
right? See that? Whereas, so his foot position, sorry, I forgot his name, Connor. Connor's foot position is fine, but he needs to rotate that femur out a little bit. So imagine trying to turn the knees outwards a little bit and just soften the knees a very slight little bit as well. And that will actually create the illusion because there is actually quite a lot of muscle in his legs, but he could definitely pose that a little bit better. and that would create a really good balance because that upper body looks absolutely insane there.
Yeah. You can see that. You can see that as you say, like they're not externally rotating them legs because they look like they got plenty of mass in them, just the way that how separated they
Yep.
are. It's just not being
Yep.
presented or shown. Yeah. And even
Yeah.
with the side, the quarter turns to the side and stuff like that, in terms of you said presenting condition, like that was one of the ones that's why I wanted to highlight that in terms of standing up, like not necessarily like crunching down in the obliques, because again, the midsection's there. It's just, as you say, it's not necessarily showcasing it to the best of its ability.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then we had our winner,
And he was excellent.
Miss
Man,
Mr. Ben Gardner.
full of muscle, full of muscle.
I loved that look. Honestly, as soon as he walked out, I was like, that's bodybuilding,
Hmm.
and it was and there was a certainty he had there was a self-assurance about his performance as well. Like, and again, it all leads into whenever you wake up in that morning, you're like going, yeah, I think I'm on. And that you take that to the stage, it's such a great feeling. So I'd say like incredible look. I'm saying like I'd written a touch more condition would bring a competitive package to any international stage. So I'm almost wanting to give him the critique based on where he's going rather than where he is on this sort of regional stage, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
100%.
Uh, but seeing him from the side, the density, as you can see through the shoulder, the arm, the chest, whenever he's hitting that side chest, good balance from quad to hamstring from the side profiles as well. Just a really, really, really good look, man.
I think that's the thing with Ben. It looked like, it's pretty complete. It was like it was nothing you're going, oh, that's lagging, that's underdeveloped. Like that side tricep in particular, and in the way he's hitting it, it was lights out because of the thickness, the polish through it. So as you say, like we said earlier, actually you're critiquing somebody at the like a top level that is essentially knocking on the door of
Yeah,
an IFBB Pro card. I think for the most part here, it's I know we missed out on it there at the weekend, but he's not far off
yeah,
it. Not another year, he come back, he's going to be up there. Like, and it's just little refinements and just doing what he's been doing. I think this is more of a redemption arc for him as well. He wanted to do this show because of a couple of years ago he didn't come in quite as he maybe wanted to or should have. That year
yeah,
Ross I took the pro card that year and went on to win the IFBB pro card. But
sure.
yeah, like it was certainly a redemption arc because he looked absolutely quality, just impressive. Delts just popping out as well.
Yeah, skin texture, everything was just really clean. Lines were really clean. I think the level of fullness was there. Like whenever I'm talking about condition, really, I always think about the max amount of condition without trading stuff off. Uh, he's within the sort of, couple of percent, as you could say, maybe a little bit more in through the glute, and that's the only area that I was really talking about glute and maybe a bit more separation of hamstrings. But you're nitpicking at a quality physique.
No, agreed. We have
So we've
all
classic, or sorry, men's bodybuilding tall. I think we had two, yeah, two in the class. So that was Finton, number 40 and number 30.
I actually don't think we have. We have 30, so we have the photos.
Oh, there's 30.
Two really good bodybuilders like as well. We have like Thomas. I thought was a really good display. We actually think like his conditioning was very good. I know we done quite well at the Universe as well there. He pushed he pushed Fenton in the class.
Mm, I don't know if I would completely agree with that, but um, for me, like one of the things that really hurt him was definitely presentation, and from the rear, I thought a little he needed a wee bit more density through the rear, in the lower halves, should I say, as you can see here.
Yeah,
Um,
nice width there.
yeah, yeah,
The, the hernia threw me a little bit, if I'm honest. I think it's something that consider. It's like it's with bodybuilding. It's like very aesthetic, and to me, like it kind of threw it a little bit. I think that potentially is something that needs looked at or fixed going forward. Because he was in the masters
yeah,
class at the Universe there, which is probably more of a fit for him because he is obviously that little bit older, and you can see that in the physique in terms of probably the fullness that he's carrying comparatively to say like Fenton, who's just wallop there.
yeah.
I mean, I liked some of his poses. I think there was a decent level of condition through it.
Yeah, I thought like the presentation needed to be improved, particularly in the muscularity. So even the execution here could massively be improved. There's like three, four things that we could checklist just to improve that because with the physique that he has, he could improve the look of some of those poses by like 10, 15%.
Mhm.
So that's definitely something that he may want to sort of invest in just a wee bit more time doing those things.
And then we have Fenton, who has come on
Yeah,
absolutely leaps and bounds. Like, he's such like I don't think the pictures do it justice because both these guys are actually pretty massive in terms of height, structure. Fenton
the
is
big boys.
there,
Yeah,
like, and the photos never do it justice. And when you're standing beside them, you're like, whoa, that's it. That is a big, big boy. Like, probably reached near 300 in his off
he's
season.
big.
Quads feathered out there. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's put on a lot of muscle, over a couple of year period there.
Well, I wanted to say the same thing with as we talked about with Dara as well. Seeing them two on stage, and they both look great a few years back, but seeing the improvements that both of them have made is phenomenal. If you've actually watched how Fenton trains, it's not surprising. The guy's strong as a bull, and he puts in the work, which is really good to see. And I know that he does. He loves the sport. He had reached out to me whenever I was away in Budapest to sort of clear up sort of the feedback, whatever else. And literally, the feedback didn't get sent out straight away until the back end of the week. So he was just looking to try to get a heads up, like whereabouts is he? And I says like the feedback that I was getting sent out to him was great overall mass, great quad detail, better presentation would improve the look, in particular from the rear. And so I'd seen him the week before in the BPA and had said the same thing because he had spoke to me backstage. Well, what do you think? And I says, "Oh, you look amazing," and blah blah blah. But then he goes, "Like, what is there any sort of critiques?" And I had just said, "I think like if you fix a wee bit in the posing from the rear." So again, Fenton has a tendency to skirt dog it. He packs. If you look at the back double, even the back lat, either of those poses, he drives the hips in underneath, and that sort of you lose the adductors completely whenever the pelvis goes into that posterior pelvic tilt. And again, it's whenever people are trying to pack the glutes through, just as that pelvis moves underneath, that's how the adductor then clears. It moves out of the road, so you'll just see this gap. But you also lose the ability to properly contract the hamstrings whenever you do those things as well.
Yep.
So you have to understand that the hamstring it is difficult to contract, but the hamstring originates on your sit bone, so your ischial tuberosity. So whenever you pack the pelvis underneath, you're pulling the hamstring in underneath a little bit. And I always find that I just can't get the same level of detail in there. Whereas again, if you pack the glutes through to show the detail and then just pack the pelvis back a little touch, you'll still be able to show the detail that you have, but you'll be able to get more detail out of the hamstring as well. Plus, you won't elongate your lower back, so you'll be able to retain a lot of the density through the lower lat area too, and even the erectors as well. So sorry about rambling on, just want to clear that up. But yeah, I think there was somebody had shared a post or something. Somebody had said something about Fenton's legs. I could just testify that was not me. The feedback that I gave Fenton was just literally you could improve the look from the lower half just by presenting it a little bit better. But he's absolutely phenomenal. Like you see from the front, I thought he had very competitive poses, even in the overall. The most muscular and the front double, I love on Fenton, and the side poses look really good because he's got that really big thick leg look from the side, but he needs to be able to present that upper body a wee bit more rotation if possible. Would improve the look of those as well.
Yeah, and my personal, I'd like to see a little bit more in the back lat spread. I think in terms of, the open the lats up just a little bit further, whether that's a posing issue or it needs a wee bit more meat because of just the sheer size of the frame. Honestly think like I'd say
Yeah,
that another year, two, if he does anything like he's done in the last two years, like he's going to shut the door. I think. Do you know what I think? And I think there was a little bit of upset, obviously. Like, and he'd asked me to ask as well, like, what was the difference between him getting not getting a pro card and getting one? Would you say it's like it just
yeah,
his intention thing? 'Cause I think there was a little bit of, he was a bit aggrieved by that to some degree. Which you understand when somebody, it's like you put everything into it, and that's the goal. So it can be disappointing, even if the physique's completely night and day different to what it was.
yeah. I think it's really, really hard. Is he pro worthy? Yeah, for sure. I think it is. Warren makes those decisions on the panel. Whenever it's a class winner, whatever he thinks. Maybe I don't know whether it's because I don't know. It's I think the feedback that he had got was more, whatever that was meaning to. Whether it's just more density, whether it's better presentation, whether it's more of all those components, I don't know. But as I said, I think if we look at the sort of poses, most muscular, front double, side chest, arguably the side tricep, even if you take without the improvements to the execution of those, are all really pro-worthy shots. But then you might look at maybe the rear shots could be improved with presentation, but maybe there is a little bit more density required just in through the hamstrings and back as well.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one because I think on another day, on another Irish show, he's probably got the pro
Yeah,
card. I think the fact that two very, very impressive bodybuilders showed up in the open classes and the classic class was, I think that was probably it. The fact there was already pro
yeah,
cards handed out, or not handed out, they earned most definitely. But I think like another
yeah,
day like, he's back. He's taking so the physique is you could well argue is worthy of pro status in the PCA. So he'll come back.
yeah.
He loves the thing like he
I
does.
agree.
Right, we
Yeah,
are
he's a good lad.
toned figure. We have
Yeah, with ladies tongue figure with four in the class.
Tessie. This is your girl.
Yeah,
We'll go four in the class, was there? Three.
yeah.
That's the overall.
So bro, there was four in her class.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. Sorry, sorry. There we go.
There you go.
Boom. Another good class. Another good class.
Yeah. So we have in fourth, number 46 on the right hand side there, Nicola, really lovely lady. I got speaking to her afterwards. I don't want to get it wrong, but I think she's actually in her 50s. I'm pretty certain. If I get that wrong, Nicola, I apologize massively. But I did speak to you and your partner upstairs, and lovely, lovely lady was asking me like, what could she do better? Um, and again, even in the notes section, I'd already written a wee bit more mass in the lower to create a bit better balance from top to bottom, particularly from the rear. And then it turns out, she has, sort of knee issues. I think you can sympathize with that, Neil. Um, so you have to learn how to, I just said, you have to learn how to work around those. So find the exercises that aren't aggravating those sites, whether it's increasing volume with exercises that we deem safe for those joints. So we at least can stimulate the muscle without annihilating the joint, and just spend time doing that, and she was really thankful just to get the sort of feedback to give her sort of direction as to what she needed to do next. But I thought she looked absolutely class, man.
Yeah, agreed. She obviously has, like, I'm not saying obviously, I've always had to dance around with the age thing. I always to be worried what I say, but she's a little bit older. And I thought, like, the package she's
Yeah,
bringing was good. It was like in terms of there's a decent amount of muscle mass there. Condition was decent. There's always a wee bit of room for improvement. And again, it's like because there's no masters category for figure. She goes into a masters category.
yeah,
She's gonna do well there. Within like there's other
yeah,
federations that also have masters categories for figures. So we could try. You could certainly go to that direction and see because obviously you're more in a level playing field. So yeah, there's a good
yeah.
physique there.
I agree with that. So third we had Jenna is number 42.
Yep.
So that's the pink bikini, I think. Just going to turn this on because see if that makes any difference there.
Yeah, Jenna's got good structure there.
Yes, maybe.
For it. She's nice wide shoulders. She presents that top half fairly well. I feel, if you're looking at compared to the other girls, the midsection was probably the thing that was a little bit, when you see in that shot particularly, a little bit softer, maybe not presented quite as well as the girls that placed above her there.
Yeah, it's the same thing there. Exactly what you mentioned. I'd said a nice structure which fits the class, but a bit more condition would polish a very good look. And I think that's as far as you can be with the feedback, particularly with the two other ladies she was standing on stage with.
And then in second, I should know this girl's name. I spoke to her. I'm terrible for names.
So this is neat, Neve.
Yes, yes. Nice physique as well. I mean, the top two are both very good for tone figure. Both very good for tone figure. I would say, like from the rear, from what I've seen, it was like probably a little bit more fullness through the glutes, a little bit more, just a little bit through the hamstrings. I mean, you're looking at Hesse there. She's won overalls there in her last couple of shows. She's coming in as a really big, pretty polished athlete with the midsection to me stands out a lot for Hesse. So if somebody's got a midsection like that, it
Yeah,
can really make other people midsection look lesser, even though I think like again, Neve is good. Neve is good. Like there's even a little bit of separation there, as much as you probably need with tone figure through the quads as well. So I'll be honest
yeah,
with you, it's a class I find hard still to judge. I'm still trying to find my way with that, hence why I don't judge.
yeah. Um, I love Neve's physique. I think she's really nice presentation as well. She looks really polished. Her structure fits the criteria perfect as well here. And for me, it was more the feedback I'd given her was a great silhouette, ticks the box, all the boxes for this category. Small critique, be a touch more, maybe a touch more mass in terms of like a wee bit more thickness in through the back would make a fantastic look. Hesse's got like a lot more. She is a wee bit more dense, and you can see that in her sort of muscularity, particularly from the rear. Um, and as you said, even sort of abs, she's got just a wee bit more sort of maybe overall detail there too. But
Yeah.
I actually thought this was really. I felt it was really close between these two, and I think it might have been a split decision as well. So these things can be turned from show to show, day to day. So yeah, like my eyes were genuinely drew to Neve. I thought she looked really good as soon as she came out. Really tiny little waist as well.
Yeah, and you can see in that shot there that the delts in that are popping as well. It's probably just a little more muscle density
Yeah,
through certain areas,
that
really.
that's all it is.
Because it's not,
Yeah,
you could swing either way. I'm looking at it at less
yeah,
experience with one figure and go, oh, you could literally flip a coin with it to some degree. I'll let you break Hesse
yeah,
down in your client in terms of where she's at, in terms of her performance there at the weekend.
yeah. Like Hesse's a lovely wee balance to her physique in terms of muscle development. You look at her the physique from a development perspective. She's not really missing anything. Front and back, she's got enough in the glutes, good sort of nice flow to the physique from the rear. Good development in through the abs midsection. Thought her control was really good in terms of how she posed and executed. Definitely, I would still, and she knows this anyway. I wanted her, still a little bit tighter, particularly in through the lower half. Upper body, I was really happy with the level of condition and fullness that we brought. I still would have liked a little bit more detail coming in through the quads and a little bit tighter through the rear in the lower half. And for me, that would actually be like a perfect physique for her this season, which I think would be competitive on any stage that she jumps on.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all basically there because there's no body parts you're going,
Yeah,
yeah, it needs up, or we're lacking a little bit here. Actually, it's just trying to get a little bit more condition through the lower half because the upper half's pretty bang on for where it needs to be. Just the lower half's just that little bit more behind, but it's enough there because of the flow, because of the muscle mass. Because there's still a very nice level. I like the level of fullness that pushes through in that tone figure class without
yeah,
kind of drawing out
yeah.
a little bit. So yeah,
Great wee class.
now we're on to the
Um,
athletic figure.
we have Amanda, number 44, ladies trained figure. Don't know if she
Yeah, big up.
44. There she is.
Annie was by herself in this class. She was trained figure.
Um, yeah, trained figure.
So
So, like for me personally, this was to the date the best that I had seen Mandy on stage.
great.
I was really, really happy. Now I've seen she went on to do the universe and stuff and did exceptional. So I want to congratulate her on that too, representing us guys over here, which is fantastic to see a lot of them athletes going and doing those things. Really, from what I seen, even in the photos, she looked even slightly improved at the universe there.
Yeah.
I like the whenever we spoke to her at the BPA show, whenever Mandy's mind goes at 1,000 miles per hour. So and you can see that whenever she's on stage posing, she's like constantly moving. I felt like she set her poses really well. Was a wee bit more static, showcased the strengths that she has in her physique. I really liked the level of condition that she had. She already knows because I spoke to her like long term, a wee bit more mass in the quads and glutes would improve the overall look. But in terms of where she is now, the condition I thought was spot on, and the fullness, her and Ross got bang on as well.
Yeah, I agree. To me, this was the best look she's had. I think we've probably both seen Amanda compete over like the last few years as well, and this was like the
Yeah,
best balance of everything she's had. She's come up. Like I thought there was good dryness, good hardness in the physique. More certainly a lot more than I'd seen. I thought the midsection looked really good. You know, I've seen her beforehand. I thought
yeah,
midsection needs a little bit of work, and it was in. And then the result she got at the Universe, like placing second, and that was no gimme that lineup either. It was a very strong lineup. So really, what does
good
she
lineup.
figure? As you say, it's just a little bit more muscle mass in them training classes because I think Amanda's like floated between athletic and trained a few times, and
Yeah,
I do feel that trained is the right class for her. Now just to get to that next level, like potentially obviously winning the Universe because that is the next step. It's just a little bit more, there's a little
yeah,
bit of mass there because I thought where the look they landed in terms of what they had was really really good.
100%. Do you know what? It was so good to see as well. Um, she just needs that confidence, and the belief in herself. And whenever she walks on and presents that, then she's opening up the door of opportunity, and that's what this game's all about. You need the self belief. It's okay having the want and the desire, but the self belief is what's going to make you have a polished performance on stage, and that could be the difference. So, very big congratulations to her as well.
Yeah, she's worked hard for that. Like she's been in the game now a long time as well. A lot of competitions.
Yeah.
Then we
So
had
we have a ladies athletic, with three in the category. I believe.
Emma
Yeah.
Patterson, I believe, was in it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we had 45, 47, and 48. Yes.
So there was good athletes in this class, like there was as well. This was a pretty
Mm,
stacked lineup. Just turn this light on 2 seconds.
yeah. Again, all three got their invites across the board, which is great to see. And that's a testament to the standard of these three ladies as well. So if we start off with third place, we have Shirley Ann, who's number 48. So you can see there on the left-hand side. This is always difficult, Neil. Whenever you have three really great athletes, and third is last,
Yeah,
you can sort of go, oh, I'm the worst athlete on that stage. But whenever you have three really good, good athletes there, you shouldn't really take it on board like that because there could be really close margins between third, second, and first.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So three really good guards, and that's why all of them got their invites as well. So the feedback that I'd given her was a fantastic upper body, more with room for more development in the lower half, and actually thought her condition was really good, particularly um, through the upper half as well.
I think it's one of those ones as well. Like where this condition's good, but a wee bit more condition would bring everything out there.
Yeah,
Because the condition is good, and then you see the girls that are or first and second there. They're just a little bit more conditioned. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that's what I see there.
yeah,
And as you say, probably just a little bit more development to be able to bring that out in the lower half through the glute, maybe through the
yeah,
hamstring just a little bit more as well, and probably a little bit more even just through the
yeah.
depth and those and the arms, like little areas like that. But again, it's a good physique that's going to be competitive actually in a lot of these athletic figure lineups. But it's just a tad more condition,
Well,
a tad more muscle.
I agree with you with the top line, but I think if she actually pushes those elbows up a touch and slightly gets a wee bit more external rotation out of that, she's going to be able to bring that anterior delt round. That's going to bring a nice little flow across the top line from the back as well. So it's just trying to get those a wee bit more external rotation because you can see there the deltoid looks actually quite good.
Yeah, true.
Um, numbers will go second. Who's Paula, number 47.
This girl impressed me. I thought she especially with the size and structure that she has there. It's very like talking of NPC, very figure-esque in terms of the line she has and the flow. Thought through the upper body, especially through the delts and through the arms, like the separation there was excellent. I thought the leg size was good. The glutes from the back were full. I mean, I feel like this would have been, I'll talk about him in a minute, but this was a pretty damn good look, that would have pushed here because the midsection,
Yeah,
especially when it's raised. and she's sitting up like this in it. The midsection looks good. You know, there's a little bit when she's maybe trying
Yeah,
to crunch on it because there is a little bit of like I would say loose skin that can be hidden. I think it's just maybe how you tweak the posing a little bit to hide that slightly because the look itself there, you look at that and you go, whoa, that's a very, very good physique. Strong, strong top line on it.
yeah, yeah. Agree completely. I'd said they're an incredible level of condition and a great package. There's not much more that you can say to that. Even from the rear, condition looked really solid the whole way through. Back development looked nice and clean as well. I was really, really impressed with the sort of back profile. You could say maybe a wee bit more in the lats there, but like more or less, you can see the condition right through from head to toe from that rear profile as well.
Yep.
Quads are nasty looking.
Nasty physique, like really good physique, really good physique.
Yeah,
And then you
class.
have Emma, the winner in it, like
Yeah,
quite polished, like compact, maybe not the same like width in terms of the upper body there. Not loads you can do about that, but like the actual because in terms of like the actual clavicular structure isn't quite the same as that. But the way she pops her shoulders, the way she holds herself, like the leg detail was very good from the rear. Like the glutes were pretty stripped out there. The level of conditioning you'd want in an athletic physique girl, I think, I would believe. So like I was really impressed with her. I just thought it was a nice package. It felt very like
yeah,
really overly missing. It was very balanced.
yeah. I think she looks great on stage, man. It's yeah, I said very pleasing structure and a balanced level of condition. I'd like to see a bit more back width because that would improve that sort of X frame. Uh, she's already impressive in that X frame, but I would just say like add a little bit more into a few of those areas, and that's just going to improve the overall look as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like when you start seeing the glute lines coming through, like they're just poking through. They're just enough for that
Yeah,
class. That was like a pretty good level of condition for what she needed there. And it seems like from what
yeah,
like again,
and
I
you could
didn't see
really,
the class, but the posing, she's holding
yeah,
herself very well in that, in terms of like it's very
yeah.
symmetrical, very balanced.
The tattoos is difficult because it does hide some of that detail. But you obviously see in the right glute and stuff there, but you could see it really even in the transitions, just that sort of level of polish to the condition, and it was really impressive to see.
Yeah.
Great, great category.
Good
All
class.
three
Like,
ladies
there's a
should be
few
really
like
proud of.
I actually
Yeah,
forgot like how good the classes were. Some of them, in terms of when I've gone through them here,
yeah,
these are tough. Some of them you could literally go, I like that or like that. You could understand why somebody can make an argument for the other person winning.
yeah. So the next one we have is first timers men's physique.
Which
I think they
is
might have brought the juniors out with them as well. So that's 49 and 51.
yeah,
49, David.
it's us here three. Yeah, so we have a junior in this lineup as well. Is that right?
They brought a junior in there as well, so he was on his own. That the wee junior.
This is
So we'll start off with the first timers here, which is the two gentlemen on the left.
yeah,
Uh, David's far left there, you can see, is number 49. But I just said like nice foundations and actually good presentation. Long term just needs overall mass whilst keeping the symmetry. I think that's pretty fair. Just a wee bit more density across the board, more thickness in the chest.
that time component to it because the waist is super small. Keep that small waist. You build on
Yeah,
the foundations, as you say, through the men's physique places, the chest, the shoulders, the arms, and then bring it up and keep that waist tight
yeah,
because it's there. It flows quite nicely. The lat flows quite nicely into the hip. Like there's
yeah,
parts there. It needs more time, and with that will come.
yeah. Potential's there. First place we had Eric in number 51. You can see in the center there.
Mhm.
Really nice condition, balance. Definitely needs to improve the presentation, which will showcase the condition even better. Um, but yeah, actually quite a lot of muscle as you can see. He's a big boy. Did really really well here. He got his British invite as well, I believe.
Yeah, it's as you say, the presentation can just probably be a little bit better, just to give a little bit more even. Maybe because I look at this again, I didn't see some of these classes at this point. But if I look at the photo, I'm going, does it need
Yeah,
a little bit more fullness through the chest, or is it because
yeah,
we're not bringing the arm up, like we talked about that a little bit higher and more into the hip rather than sitting down the hip to get a little bit more through the chest,
yeah.
a bit more through the top line of the delt. So it's like it's one of those ones.
He definitely needs more density. I'd said like just overall muscularity, continue to just to add on what's already there, but certainly a bit more thickness through the chest is a necessity for men's physique.
And we'll go with juniors
But
as well. Right.
first timers, he brought a very good package though, so got to give it up.
Yeah. Right.
Juniors, we have Ethan. I thought
Good.
he was class. Fantastic junior competitor, nice proportions, really good presentation. Long term, just more mass in the back shots would create better front to back balance. And again, it's always hard to give that to a junior. I think he looks quite young as well for a junior potentially. So he's at the start of this, but he has buckets of potential, that kid. And it was actually nice watching his presentation on stage as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Like, I mean, his presentation's very good in terms of men's physique. It really showcases him very well. Mid set from the front, he's even against big guys, like he can take them. First of all, because he presents well, but the
Yeah,
mid section is super clean. Like it's so aesthetic from the front. The back
yeah,
is where it probably needs the majority of the work and the focus. But again, he's so young, it's hard to go, as you say. It's hard to say, listen, we need your back up because that will come with time. But it's just because the front is
yeah,
like, just like nearly perfect to a point in terms of where he could
yeah,
be at. Obviously,
yeah,
yes, bit more mass as he goes and gets older. But like the back shot more so just because it's just the front's just so damn good. Like so it is.
yeah. Next one we have masters men's physique over 35, so 53, 54, 55, 57, 97,
Big class.
53.
Go on to this one. So it's the over 35s class. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so we'll start off. We'll do the top three here because I'm aware that we're running with a lot of time invested in this already.
They were saying or nice and concise
Uh,
podcast turns into the usual
yeah,
300%.
it never works. Um, so if we go number 97, that's third place.
Not his
Yeah.
best.
So number 97, third place. He got a British invite. He says great tan, great condition. Definitely needs to work a little bit more on the posing itself. You can see here.
Yeah.
Yeah, needs a lot of work, but actually, really, you can see the nice condition, really clean symmetry through the midsection as well. Sometimes he was letting it go a little bit in transition to the side, but you can see there once he was down on them, looked really, really impressive through the abs.
Yeah, I mean, my main critique would be the posing, especially in men's physique, because it's more limited in terms of the posing that you have. So you got to make the most of the poses you're in. And I suppose like I think somebody that's is quite clearly very developed in that midsection, to the point where it looks like to me that it could protrude a little bit nearly. You nearly get that feeling with it that he's got to
Yeah,
like not be crunching maybe quite as hard down on it, or certainly at least when I lift
yeah,
the body up to give him that little bit more of a top line. Because there's a big emphasis on hitting the abs there but in doing so, losing
yeah,
the that he does have muscle there. Arms are big. It's just how he's holding
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Second place, we had Darren Murphy, number 54. You can see there, middle right. I just says actually the condition could be a touch sharper, which would enhance a very impressive package. Because once again, like he's got sort of good detailing through the abs, symmetry looked really really nice. Thought the level of muscularity was very well balanced actually through particularly the front profile, shoulders, chest, and abs. So I think just a wee touch more condition, you could definitely see a bit of an improvement there.
Yep, agreed. Like it's good again. It's good physique. It's just it's that little bit sharper when you're comparing it to the top guys. Would bring it out.
Yeah.
Winner was strong.
First place, Alan Gallagher. Yeah, like I think Alan was the clear winner here. Um, Great overall physique, sharpness through the back. I'm still giving critique even to the guys that are bringing really good packages. I said could still be a wee bit sharper through the back, and a few tweaks to the presentation would be recommended as well. But really good package, clear winner in a pretty good lineup as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's not much more to say on that. He's well developed there as well.
Yeah, looks good.
We have
So classic or men's physique short in the
50.
category 56, 58, 59.
This is a fairly good
Yeah,
class, rightly as well. The three a minute.
yeah.
Yeah, this was a good class. It's a good men's physique class, this one. A bit of difference in it in terms of what you were going for.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think this was really good. All three got their invites as well, so both their invites, which is good to see. If we start off in third, we had Bruno, number 56.
Very good midsection.
So, yeah,
Extremely
I
good.
said lovely balance of condition there. Needs to add a wee bit more mass while keeping the proportions, particularly from the rear. Um, Definitely, I thought like from the front, you could just see like loads of clean lines down through obliques, serratus, midsection, all look really, really tight. So much promise with that physique as well.
He actually went to the universe the following week, done masters over 35s and placed
Okay,
second. Placed second in it.
excellent.
So they rewarded
Yeah,
that the condition. I think you'll hear he's battling size. Clearly the winner there,
yeah,
maybe not as tight, but battled size. But it's like his midsection
yeah.
complete serratus is fucking it's it's pretty dug out. Like I'd like to see a little bit more size just
Love it.
generally through the chest and the back, really with it. But in terms of what he's
Yeah,
got, what he has, he's working it pretty well.
yeah, yeah. Lovely. Tan looked good. Level of glaze, etc. Everything else was polished. That's pretty much just a few small tweaks, but great result and congratulations to Bruno as well. So in second place we have Ryan. I know Ryan really well, and actually just to see the improvement that he's made from the previous seasons that I've seen him compete is just really, really good because he's a really good lad as well. So it's good to see him making the progress. The work's paying off for him. So each year you can just see him getting better and better. So I've no doubt that that'll continue with the same trend. My feedback was the great package, best that I've seen you. More chest depth is needed to complete the look from the front.
Yeah, a little bit more through the chest, really, because he has a very small waist, especially with that like one hand
Yeah,
overhead. Uh, when he
yeah,
hits that, and then I'd like to maybe see him maybe just crunch on the abs slightly more in them shots because when he hits them hard, they're very separated and in. But again, just a little bit more through
yeah,
the chest when he gets that arm around there.
yeah. Really good package though. First, uh,
I would,
I
I would,
I
I
think
W.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We'll butcher that one, but um, again, out of the three, probably didn't have the best condition in the front and the side. You can sort of see it there, but um, such an impressive physique, so wide across the top line, big clavicles, really good shoulder development. Probably the most muscled of the three. Not just in terms of like he's not just big in terms of height and stature, but he was quite heavily muscled as well. I think all that stood in really good stead for him.
Yeah, I this is probably one of the ones that I would probably I'd have went I'd have went the other way with that. Just because I thought he's so muscled up top, so in some shots he can get away with it. But I think the midsection
Yeah,
looks quite thick, for men's physique, comparatively, especially when you're standing against
yeah,
guys that are very, the condition the other two guys are like, I think it nearly exposes his condition. Again, that would be my personal preference on it, and it is subjective,
yeah,
the sport of it. But like I could see him in a pair, like opposing thumb, because you can see there's legs there too. And I think like, how
yeah,
much more grown. Yes, he could probably be 5% sharper. That might bring that down a little bit. But you kind of go, you're pretty maxed out here now in terms of like the men's physique.
yeah, 100%.
But plenty big enough.
Right.
Plenty big enough.
Yeah,
No more size.
yeah, it was good wee class. Next class we have men's physique tall. This was a big one actually.
Would he be into 61
So
here?
60 to 67, yeah. 61 would be good.
Oh, yes, right. This was a big class.
There was a big one.
Me.
Actually, a couple of really, really good athletes here. So it was really, really good to see as well.
Here's when a class of
Um,
this size walks out, do you like do you nearly click straight away who your top three or four are, or does it take you a bit to decipher between them?
Quite often, I almost like score from the back whenever it's a big category. Because quite often the top guys are going to be close,
Hmm.
so you need to be able to spend more time there. Whenever you come out, you can kind of go, you can sort of like look through and see in that initial lineup, like who's probably not going to make that first call out. That's essentially, it's generally a better way to judge. So you're not kind of wasting time looking at fine margins between first and second. You're looking at, right, who's fifth, sixth, and seventh.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can almost like sort of once you've got them, you can sort of take them out of the equation, and that's why it's always important to present your best on stage and make sure as soon as you walk out on stage, whatever you have, present it the best way possible. Because if you're a slow starter, then by the time you start presenting the best version of your package, decisions can already be influenced by people that's maybe started a wee bit sharper. So I think it's a good way to sort of judge, but it's a good way to sort of interpret that whenever you're about to walk on stage, how important that first round of posing actually is. So, where will we go with this? Do you want to?
I
I've
think
got
we'll
five placed here, or do you want to just do top three?
go top three. We'll go top three in this one.
Top three. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. One of my headphones just died, so that's not a good sign. Um, top three. We have Greg is number 62.
Yes.
I don't know if we can see that. Oh yeah, we can see. Yeah. So number 62. Great package. Presentation was really good. Could be a little bit touch sharper through the rear. That's what I had sort of seen initially with the physique.
Yeah.
I thought the top three actually were really good quality. Like very good
I,
quality.
It is like if I because I'm just trying to scan it. I didn't see this lineup. I'm looking at it going, right, who am I picking here in this top three?
Yeah.
It is really, really challenging to judge because there's a few here you go, they could slip, especially in this shot, they could slip in. I mean, the midsection is nice there. There's fullness through the chest, and I think that's the thing. Like if you don't have the development in the chest, when you go into that front double, you can see the chest flatten off a lot, and that's what you can see in some of the guys comparatively to say the third plate, number 62. So there was enough fullness
Yeah.
there and enough of a lat to give that illusion of a taper, even though the midsection it's developed, and sometimes when it's so developed, as I say, it can nearly want to protrude, but he's controlling it very, very well.
Yeah. You can also see there the arm position in that pose. If he just pushed the elbows up a little bit more in alignment with some of the other guys there, that's going to actually create more of a V taper as well
Yeah,
because it'll allow you to it'll lengthen the thoracic fibers of the lat. And the likes of the Terra is just be opening it out. So there's definitely things that you could do to improve that presentation, which can be the difference in placing third and second. So these little bits do matter.
yeah. Second place, are we right in saying it's 66?
66. Well
Yeah.
done, Neil.
Thank you
Well
very
done.
much.
Take a
His
judge out of you yet.
Oh, that's the next one. The soot spot. His
Yeah,
plus line, very, very big, very wide, very imposing. Yeah, actually similarities
yeah,
to the guy in the class beforehand, except just
yeah,
sharper, controlling his midsection better. Like if I'm looking at it, like what's separating him, I haven't seen the back shot. If I'm looking at it, I'm going, it's one of those ones again, condition good, but to beat the guy that won, it could be a little bit sharper because actually the physique itself is very impressive, especially in these first couple of shots I've seen.
yeah. That's exactly the personal critique that I'd given him. I said, wide structure, very pleasing X frame, more condition would complete an incredible look.
Yeah, yeah, just nice structure, really nice structure.
Yeah.
Our winner, I've seen
So
him
we had
before. He's,
num we yeah, we had Christopher number 61 who won this category.
he's yeah, he's impressive. Like I think we done a critique on him before. I think he won the overall at the first timers show. I was impressed
Yeah.
with him then. I think it's a very similar look he brought to this show in terms of through the obliques, through the serratus, the abs, nice and poppy, nice and crisp. It's a quality physique, this one.
Beautiful look, mate. I thought it was like very, very polished condition. I said on point, and that's the best compliment you can get. And this the tan looked really great. Um, the presentation was really good as well, I thought. I felt like if I'm giving him any sort of critique for him to work on, it would just be development into the arms will improve a lot of the poses. Most of those men's physique poses, the arms are away from the body. So whenever you don't have that sort of density of the upper arm, it does get exposed a little bit. So just work on that, and that's like pretty much it. He's fairly complete pretty much everywhere else.
I think that's what we said the
Great
last time as
athlete.
well, actually. Was just actually I'd like to see just a wee
Okay.
bit more arms to push him into that top level because that's
Yeah.
all as you see them
Interest.
guys, the arms like exactly the same feedback. So that's always good. Good consistent judging, as well. Yeah.
Okay, so we've ladies wellness.
Are we do we have a number for that? Because I don't
So we've 68, 69, 70, 71.
we're in.
This was actually a really good wee category. I really like this. So I think you're on 69, isn't it?
Yep.
That's Gabby.
Yeah. This Gabby here in the red bikini. Yeah, here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like structurally, she has a lot of weaponry there. That for me, very it fits the category very, very well. So all the foundations are there. For me, it was essentially just a condition
Yeah.
point that needed to be improved. But she's like nice presentation. She's a nice look about her as well. So as I said, with the improvement of the condition, that's just going to highlight all the strengths that she already has to her physique. So loads of potential with that.
Great. The foundations are all there. It's just a little bit more conditioned
Yeah,
when you compare it to the top because the glutes are, they're out there. The side legs very, very thick as well. You can see there's a nice top line, but it just needs a little more condition to really, really showcase that against the top girls.
yeah, yeah. Very good athlete. Loads of potential. So it'll be interesting to see her. I think she might have. Did she compete at the weekend there too? Maybe
I don't think she was in the weekend. I don't think she was, no.
no. Okay, second place we had Lauren, who's number 70, green bikini. So we've seen Lauren before. She was at the previous PCA shows as well.
Yep.
She's got a great stage presentation. I think I gave her the same feedback the last time. Just really professional, really polished. She actually reminds me of an athlete that I know, uh, Steph Noble,
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Actually,
structure.
too.
Do you know who I'm talking about? Yeah.
I do. I mean, you say it like, yeah, it does.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities, and Steph is a phenomenal performer on stage as well. So the physique looks quite similar in certain areas, and how they present themselves is very polished and professional. So that's a big compliment there, Lauren. But yeah, you did a phenomenal job, I thought.
I actually seen
Amazing.
her
Yeah,
Instagram today, and it just popped up, and an unbelievable transformation for that girl. I mean, you're talking it could be about 8 stone off her. So when you see that, I know you're not judging it
wow,
on a bodybuilding stage, but like obviously it's something that we're both passionate about. And it was like ungodly impressive in the time frame, like a completely different person. So I just want to give her a credit for that.
amazing to see. Like, yeah, this sport hides a lot of stories, and these people, the people in the audience, they're just seeing the sort of like the end of a highlight reel. This is somebody that trains and sticks a bikini on and performs so professionally and elegantly as well on stage, but they have this sort of the backbone. That's the part of that journey and the process, and it's fantastic to see. Um, yeah, I think we'll probably leave that there because that's a beautiful, beautiful way to finalize that.
And then Rebecca, our winner, like just such a good
Yeah,
physique, so damn polished. Like when you talk about wellness, like this is what I want to see in a wellness athlete in terms
yeah,
of the fullness with the not overdone condition. And you can't go there, like you won't go that soft. Do you know what I mean? And that can be the case sometimes in wellness a little bit, more than I'd like to see. But with enough through the delt that it's not completely overpowering. The side shot's very, very good. Like I think she's a bag full of potential. Like, especially when you see seen her at the universe, I think second or third, she's done very well there too. Against some
yeah.
very large girls, she looked very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, I'd given her the feedback, and she'd reached out and stuff, and thanks for the feedback, and it just again that gave me the opportunity then to just sort of open up a little bit on it. I'd said like she's incredible, she's got everything there. I did say like just in terms of the long term project, just to continue to add the mass in the lower half, to that's because for me, I'm trying to focus on what is the critique that's going to do her good because of where she is going. And it's clear that she's going to make it in this sport if she just keeps doing it and keeps turning up. And so for me, the critique was based on where I see her going rather than where she is now. So it was like just continue to add more density in that lower half. The waist is really, really tight. She's really nice, as you said, probably the right amount of detail and development in the upper for what she needs for that class. And that's really it. The shape that she has is just absolutely incredible. And again, I think like we're giving another shout out here. I think it's Wardy's client too.
Yeah, good pop,
Yeah,
very.
just really polished look. She looked incredible, and then how she presented, and she smiles, really professional looking. Great job.
Yeah, she can go a long way with it. As you say, it's more just like we're talking about the level she's going to. It's just it just
Yeah,
over time it'll develop more muscle and it'll be a top level. It can go into the certainly the pro leagues and PCA or IFBB. Like I firmly believe that.
yeah.
Righty.
So we had Danielle, who was a first timers bikini. I think there was only one in the category.
72 is that?
Number 72. Yeah, that was her. 72.
So first timers bikini one in it. And we'll just go into I'd say she's on stage with other people here. Yeah. This is
Yeah,
Danny our left here.
yeah, that's her. She looked great. Like all I said to her was just keep doing what you're doing. It's just time, and it's continue to develop what's already there. In this, she's got the right proportions, narrow little waist. You can see there that even the top line and that side profile looks really clean too. So yeah, and her presentation was fantastic for first timers too. Like she looked like she had a really good time on stage, and that's so important in these categories in particular. I don't really need to see a bodybuilder, like a man's bodybuilder, smile. I know you love smiling because you just love it, but I don't, as a judge, I don't need this. It's not something that I really need to see. But whenever you're talking about these categories, you need to see the teeth, and um, it shouldn't look forced. It should just look effortless. And she brought that for a first timer, which is phenomenal to see.
Yeah, proportions are very good, as you say. Like that's a big thing in bikinis. So it's just more like it's something you'd said in this a few times is like the foundations are there, and that's
Yeah,
again the key is here. The foundations are there. It's continue to just develop them foundations.
yeah. So we have junior bikini, three in the category 74, 75, 76. So that was the other three girls that were on stage
This was a good
with
class.
Danielle.
This was another good class, if I remember rightly.
This was very good. All three girls were very, very good quality. I believe they all got their invites as well, which is really good, and they all deserved it. So third we had Claudia.
Yeah,
Claudia, so she's yeah, number 75. I believe that's the pink
yeah,
bikini,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. I actually thought her tan looked a little bit lighter, which threw off a wee bit of the condition. Um, I thought like a wee bit more condition would have polished the look, but I honestly do think that the tan didn't help her that much. It looked very, very light compared to the other girls on stage.
She's quite muscular in the bottom half there too. I'd look at that
Yeah,
and I go, that's just something that could potentially go into wellness as well. With the quads and the glutes on it there.
yeah,
I think with development that could do. I mean, she's a lovely small waist there as well. And I agree with like, and maybe a little bit more condition in the tan, especially when you compare the tans there, it's a little bit
yeah.
lighter. Maybe we'll throw the condition off a tad. Like, I mean, we're talking, it's not a million miles away that at all. But
But I
again,
think, yeah, if the tan had been a little bit darker, that the condition definitely would have looked better.
Mhm. Yep. Like a good physique again for a junior. Like the junior classes are storming this at the minute, so they are. They really are. They're like
No,
massively.
she's going to be a good one. She's going to be a good one because she's got a absolutely perfect frame.
Yeah. And then we,
Second place we had Holly.
yeah. Holly again. If I remember rightly, she went on the universe. I think she might get second in the universe as well. And I actually feel that she maybe came
Okay,
in a little bit a little bit tighter into that show.
cool.
Certainly looked a little bit tighter and a little bit more fullness alongside it because again she's a nice big structure, long, and I think that's like I
Yeah,
always think that's very important in bikini to have the length, to have if everything flows and floats a little bit more rather than being just quite as compact. She has that. She's good development in her legs, but if you compare it again to like the winner Megan, I think her name is, you can just see a little bit like there's a
yeah,
little bit less condition through that as there is through somebody like Megan and their legs from the front shots.
yeah. I thought like well, so sometimes whenever the female categories are there, so I don't contradict myself. So sometimes if I've maybe said about somebody's posing in the drop downs where I felt that the presentation was quite good, then maybe towards the end of that category, Nadia is sitting beside me in the panel and she might go, just mention something about a pose or something to do something about presentation. So she ends up wanting me to write that in. So sometimes it can look like there's a bit of confliction, but we're always like a an open book, So if anybody's unsure about what does the actual feedback mean, we're always there to, if you reach out a message and you want a wee bit more explanation, we're more than happy to do so. We try to do that as well as possible. Both Nadia and myself are willing to do those things for any of you guys. So yeah, I thought like Nadia had says something about her presentation. There was a few things that she could definitely work on. So if Holly would like to know a bit more about that, then I would just say reach out to Nadia and she'll definitely give you the feedback.
Yeah. And then Megan, who I think
Megan,
we reviewed, critiqued her in the last couple of shows. She was double overall champ at the last Irish Natural and Open show, first timer show, sorry. So she's a very, very strong physique. It's like in terms of like the structure, in terms of the amount of muscle she's carrying as a junior as well, the flow of it, the conditioning.
yeah,
It's a really good physique. Like it's going to stand anywhere really and be quite competitive. I feel like even in the open classes, she could be quite competitive as a junior still.
yeah. She she had great smile, great performance on stage, very confident, very like sort of reassuring, which is so good to see. The only sort of slight critique that I give her was just adding a bit more uh, from the rear, would bring an incredible look. So you can see just a wee touch more, I think, through the back. Glute shape looks really good. I felt in the lower half she's got everything that she sort of needs. Felt the presentation was very good as well. So we're just talking about in terms of developing the project, just a wee bit more in the back.
It doesn't need much. It doesn't need much to be
No,
competitive with that. It's kind of there or thereabouts again at a level that in terms of
yeah,
the trajectory that she's wanting to go, which it's I think there's quite a high ceiling on that one for Megan.
yeah.
Right, we are into the bikini masters, is that right?
So we had Amy in the Masters over 35s.
Does she have a number? Because I'm not sure if she's actually got. Oh, there she is. Sorry.
Uh,
Yes.
number one, 77.
So Amy, who went on to win the pro card and then compete at the universe as well, I think it was a fourth place. I could have seen her. I could have seen her placing higher at the universe, if I'm honest. And I'm not biased.
Yeah,
This is Amy in
no,
the far end here in the 35 class. She's, I mean, I remember last year she was as a first timer. I was so impressed by her, and then the progress she's made in this year, it's like actually mind blowing as a female. In terms of and with it and staying within the criteria of the class because there's a lot of muscle within it. Waist is nice, condition good, uh, very, very impressive. 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 2 seconds, guys. We're having for this. Right. Sorry, guys. I had to pause there. We have a few technical issues again. Sure, that would be the way. So we'll go back on. We're on to Amy here. 2 seconds. Where are we?
Yeah.
Yes, so Amy, yeah, sort of saying, come on, although since last year, you want to break her physique down a wee bit there, James.
First of all, like whenever Amy turned up on stage last year, she just looked like she was pro made. There was no pro card obviously awarded at the show last year, but she walked out. She had that sort of stage presence. There was a real good polish about her, front to back. Pretty much the same I felt this year. The again, once again, let me reiterate the feedback that I'd given her was a few adjustments to the posing would complete a very impressive performance. It was Nadia that had mentioned a couple of the posing, and I believe that Nadia spoke to her before about this. I'm not too sure, but it was Nadia that wanted me to write that note in. So once again, if Amy was wanting more details on that, contact Nadia. So Nadia's going to be busy hopefully over the next few days. But the feedback is always worth it, particularly whenever you're talking about Amy. For me, last year was pro worthy already in her first show, which was insane. So now she's going to be fighting in the pro ranks. It's like learning and working out exactly what she needs to do just to go to continue to climb that ladder, in the ranks in the pro ranks as well. But she's all the capabilities, mate. She's a phenomenal athlete, really nice stage presence, really draws the eye as well.
Yeah, I mean, if I looking at it, and when I looked at the universe lineup there in terms of placing fourth, I think she could get into definitely get into third. The only place I'm seeing is right a little bit more separation, a tad more separation in the quads at that level was where I was looking at and going, okay, that's if you're going to make an argument for why somebody placed above her, it was that because everything else is so good, so flowy. There's actually a decent amount of size on it, but it's not overwhelming size. It's pretty damn near perfect. It just needs a wee bit more, is it maturity, separation in the legs, and that to me that would do it.
I wasn't sure. I actually thought, again, you're recollecting an impressive physique with an impressive physique, from a year apart. I felt like she probably, I can remember having maybe slightly better quad separation in last year show. Whether she's added more tissue, I'm not too sure. Um, but like you're nitpicking at that level, and so it'll be interesting to see what she does next throughout the remainder of this season. Hopefully, she keeps pushing forward because I think she just needs to get the judges' eyes on her at
Yeah.
the likes of the big shows, the international shows, and she will start getting the places that she deserves.
I
So hopefully, we'll see.
incredible physique, just an incredible physique. I think it's pretty perfect bikini. Like I love that, the fact there is muscularity there too. It's not just small as it used to be. It's bodybuilding, so it's good to see. The 45s class we're on the 45, so we'll stick with it. 45 Masters bikini.
Let's go.
The
Yeah,
another
so we had, yeah, go ahead.
a big lineup again. It's pretty impressive. I had Joe Greener in a lot of the 45 lineups over the last sort of 6 7 weeks. And I was actually a wee bit disappointed that she didn't I didn't have her over to Ireland to actually compete in a lineup of this size. So because it was a strong
Yeah,
lineup too. Again, the top they're all pretty good. They're all pretty good. There's nobody there standing out going. Sometimes you go, well, all right. Where everybody in this was like, these are good competitors.
yeah, great. We had really good density the whole way through that. To be fair, I think we like Suzanne, number 83 in the far right. I think she might have competed the weekend
Yep.
as well. I think she might have done well. Um, but I've got the top four scored here. So we had number 78, Andrea. Um, I just said like literally more width in the back would create a better taper, which would improve an already impressive physique.
Yep.
And you can sort of see that partly even from the front profile there as well.
Yep.
But you can obviously notice it from the back profile. But if we stick with this, yeah, I thought that her presentation for the most part was very, very good. Yeah, see if there's any sort of back shots there.
Yeah, wee bit more there, wee bit more. even in the delts as well, a tad, but the condition was good. And you tend to find that, don't you, in the masters classes, like the condition's always a little bit harder to.
Yeah. So you can see there, second from the right, we just like a wee bit more width in through the back. Um, will definitely just improve the package. But as I said, as you mentioned there, the condition looked really, really clean. And it is true, the like over 40s, over 45 females, and I've coached a lot of them over the years as well. You tend to you you bring them in this sort of different level of condition, whether it's like the skin's thinning a little bit and whatever else, just shows more detail in the muscle, and then you combine that then with just maybe those ladies have been training for longer. There's more overall muscle maturity, and it just brings like a really different look to the stage. And I actually love looking like seeing the masters female categories.
So same. It was one of my best coaching experiences taking Joe through this year because you can just get a different level of condition out of them and you're seeing it change in front of you. You know, it's a really good look. I like it.
Yeah. Um, so here we got third place. We've got number 80, um, Elish.
Yeah.
Elish.
Nice.
Yeah. So the top four there got they all got their invites and stuff as well. So that just goes to show just the depth in that lineup. And again, they all deserve that too. So third position, number 80. What do you feel there?
Elish is good. Elish, I've seen come on. I remember the last showing, I thought she looked a little bit over dieted, if I'm honest. And I think she's come back and she's filled it out and it's improved her look drastically because of that. It's given her a little bit more fullness through the quads. It's given her a little bit more fullness through the shoulders. Though I'd still like to see a little bit more, I suppose, development up there to give her a little bit more of an X frame. But I do think like the strategy they came in with to fill it out a little bit more to probably reverse out of the diet a tad, it worked. You know, it was a much improved look.
Yeah, perfect. Second, then we have number 79, Catherine.
Yep. Again, like
Yeah, he says great condition overall.
yep.
Yeah, I thought great condition overall with a pleasing level of muscularity. She's and she actually did. I felt like had a good sort of stage presence as well, which I had commented on it as in her feedback.
Yep. And
Yeah,
then
it's a nice look.
yeah, it's a nice look. Like the back, the detail through the back is very, very good. Maybe could get a little bit more through the hamstring, the glute and hamstring tie-in when you're seeing it in comparison to again the top, the winner, Joe here in the middle. I mean, I was
Yeah,
very impressed with Joe. I'm not sure what she goes by. She's a nice girl, like in the interviews. But she's
yeah,
impressed with like Corey's quite a good lot of muscle as well there.
yeah. There is. The condition was fantastic, and I actually said the right level of fullness. So from a peaking perspective, just the quality of the muscle, I felt was really well balanced from front to back, head to toe. So really good job there. I did say like she had sometimes a tendency to let the midsection go whenever she was transitioning. So I'd written that in the personal feedback as well. But again, those are things that you can just sort of work on. Quite often, if I've got clients that are, readying themselves and we're going through posing and presentation, like you got to record it and watch it back and take notes of how many times that you've maybe let things relax or switch off, and then just make sure that you're eradicating those each time you practice your posing. So by the time you go on stage, you're on from the moment you're on until you're off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be right. That'd be one of my only critique points there was because she had really good abs. She had a really strong set of abs there, but just sometimes in some of the transitions or the side turns, not that let it go, but it wasn't sunk in to create this illusion of such a tiny waist. So that to me was one of
Yeah,
the only real knocks on the physique, which overall was pretty damn good. You know, like at 45's level,
yeah,
I thought it was excellent. It's pretty fresh,
really good.
for 45 plus.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, we've got
Um, so we had ladies bikini short, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89.
this name threw me straight away when it was read it. Aving.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes.
So I've got the places for the top four here. So we have from Emma, number 87.
Yep. Emma's improved as well.
Actually, yeah,
You know, I've seen Emma over the years.
I'll
She's
let you go. I'll let you.
sorry, mate. Sorry. She's brought up. I think she's brought up areas like a lot. I think the legs have come up a lot, and it's gave her the waist. It's made the waist look far smaller and put a good bit of meat on the delts. I actually think with like a little bit more condition, she moves. She has the potential to move up in these sort of lineups as well.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. And that was look, that was the feedback that I'd given her. I said like she needed more condition for sure. And I thought like whether if with more condition the size drops off a little bit and she falls back into this category, but with the size that she presented, I was like, it's almost you're almost like moving up into that category.
Mhm.
But great physique, and you're right in what you say. I think she's definitely brought an improved package to the stage, and I had yeah, I bumped into her last weekend as well because she was down at the show in Dublin on Friday. So I was speaking to her stuff down there, and just she had actually reached out for the feedback while I was over in Budapest last week as well. So once again, I gave her the sort of feedback. And I just always hope whenever I give the feedback that it's taken in the way it's intended. I'm not there to sort of hurt people. I'm there to hopefully give something constructive that gives them a bit of direction moving forward. So she's loads of potential, man. So it'll be good to see what she does next.
Then third place,
Third, we had Rachel, number 88.
yes, yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, for me, I thought like just a little bit more muscle probably in the upper body, just to sort of balance the top to bottom is pretty much all the sort of critique that I could give her from that perspective. I said that definitely she has a quality physique
Yeah,
and really good stage presence.
again, the standout for me is just the top line, a little bit more through the delts, and maybe even a little bit more through the arms, just to create a bit more separation between the delt and the end of the tricep and bicep, would just enhance that top line a little bit more as well. And again, again, when we're comparing it to the top two girls there, just a little bit tighter, a little bit more conditioned too. When you see the top two girls there, how clean their midsection looks, it kind of stands out there.
Yeah, agree with that. Yeah, second place we have 89, so that's Shannon.
There we go. Interesting there because like the feedback, like what was your feedback on 89?
Very pleasing shape. Was very hard in upper body. A wee bit more glute development would complete a very good physique. That's kind of the only thing that I could give that I think is going to have benefits in moving forward here.
Yeah, 'cause the upper body does look hard, looks very hard, maybe a little bit softer, but
Yeah,
again, in the lower half, from where I feel it with 84, it's a little bit more balanced in terms of the level of condition, like top to bottom, and I think that, probably the
yeah,
separating factor there for the most part was just the evenness of the condition as well.
yeah, without a doubt, 100%. Like the hardness in condition quite often is um, the presence of muscularity. Areas that you have potentially more density, you have the ability to create more of a hardness to that look. So sometimes if there's like a slight muscle imbalance, so like upper being a little bit more dense and a bit more muscle, the appearance of conditions generally going to be a little bit sharper than areas that just aren't as heavily muscled. So sometimes those are things that you can definitely work on even in the off season. So it's not just bringing somebody in condition; it's also make sure that you have the muscle to bring in condition.
Yeah.
So we had Avine, number 84.
Yeah. Nice small waist, nice tight waist. And obviously, as soon as you have that very small waist, like it's going to give the illusion of more of an X frame, which is always going to stand out in bikini. And again, we look at like what makes bikini bikini. As always, I love that like the flow and the length. I know I've said that a few times, but like some people just fit in it better, and that's a girl there to look at it and go, yeah, that's a bikini girl all day. That's the class for her.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I thought she looked really, really good. Good quality physique, top to bottom. That's pretty much all that you can say. I just said quality physique, top to bottom. Well done. I thought like the balance that she had, front to back was really good as well, and her presentation looked quite polished, which is great to see.
Yeah, you can see there from the rear as well, like through the back, the detail through the back, like it kind of separates her a little bit, in terms of, first, second, and third. When you start spinning everybody around from every angle, you can see where somebody their quality start to stand out there. So yeah, really good
Yeah,
physique, nice physique. We got
yeah.
bikini tall.
Bikini tall. We had two, so 91, 92.
This was our last class before the
Yeah.
overalls. So thank you for sticking with us this long.
Problem with three sets of headphones, but I'm still here. Um,
The end of class, is this for the overalls? This one?
so we, yeah, must
Don't
be the
actually have.
overalls.
There we go. Sorry. Yes. So we have 92 was second. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marianne.
Like another very pleasing physique. Again, if you're looking at it compared to, is that Lynn in first place there? Like Lynn's physique, it stands out. We'll pick 92 first. It's like probably looking at it, it just needs it's a wee bit tighter in terms of condition. You can see that in the side leg as well. I'd like to see like what I see with bikini girls sometimes is they maybe stand a little bit straight legged in some of that side pose, and then it gives the illusion that you can't really get the hamstring involved as much in that pose, and it's then it's harder to pop the glute as well when you're standing a little bit more straight legged. So that would be my
Yeah.
sort of forefront when I'm looking at that in terms of breaking that physique down.
Yeah. I thought like she very impressive look from the front. Uh, I felt like probably the separating factors here are more evident from the back. Is hopefully you can see, yeah, so you can sort of see the difference in polish from the rear here. Still very impressive, as I said. You're sort of nitpicking at these things just to try to get the improvements there to take those athletes to the next level.
Yeah, Lynn,
Yeah,
very impressed with Lynn. I think I've seen her a few times as well, and I've always been impressed like with the package she brings. It always looks very, I'm going to use the word again, like have a shot every time I say it, but polished in terms of like her condition. Like her waist is super, super tiny, and then she gets herself round in the side poses, especially, and it gives this like such a
yes,
good illusion of the width, especially when it goes into such a small waist. Like if I'm going to pick anywhere
yeah,
to be slightly critical on it, I would like to see just a little bit more pop in the glute and a little bit more fullness in the glute because the top half has so much width and so much condition. I think that would just it would take her to the next level, which is already at quite a high level. Just a wee bit more through there, a little bit more maybe through the hamstring. Like it's going to be a hard physique to beat.
yeah. Like I think the shape of the glute is very, very good. The taper that she has from the rear as well is very, very nice. There's nothing really missing in terms of development from the back. As you said, you could probably argue continue to put a wee bit more into the hamstring and a little bit more into the glute, but like pretty much all of it's there, which is really evident. Even from the side profile, you can really see the narrowness of the waist. It pretty much disappears, and she's wide enough across that top line, even in the side profile poses as well. Just really, really clean looking.
Condition good too. It's just enough to see the
Yeah,
separation pretty much everywhere without being like overcooked, as can happen sometimes with bikini. I think we've seen it a few times where it's just a little bit overcooked and then it becomes quite stringy, where it's not the case there.
yeah.
Right, we will finish
Very
on just a
impressed.
quick look through the overalls. So
Let's
we've seen
go.
winners. Where are we? Where are the overalls? There we go. So we'll start with our bikini overall. And I suppose I like just going like why, who were the top runners in it? I always like sort of asking the question there is like who's your sort of top runners in it? and what separated the overall champion from, maybe the ones that were close by?
I think you'd always probably had Amy as a front runner from the get go, just because the complete package that she has. Um, I had written down a few things here. Where are we? Bear with me. Yeah, I'd actually said to Rebecca that your eye was drew to her quite a lot on stage as well. Um, just the overall performance, very, very polished. As I said, like for her long term, it's just a little bit more development in the lower is where I see. But I was still drew to her like quite often. She had a really nice presence on stage, smiled constantly, looks like she's enjoying it. She's never It's almost like flawless. There's never anything that goes wrong whenever she's moving and transitioning either. And that's rare. It's rare to see because quite often you see people switch off, and particularly like in an overall, it's been a long day at that point, and people's adherence to the cause sometimes slips a little bit. They kind of take the foot off the gas. She came out of the blocks and put up a good fight. Um, Overall, Amy deserved the win because she had just the most level of completeness, I think, in the lineup. And for me, as I said, it's maybe even a year later than she probably deserved to get a pro card. I think she was ready last year.
Yeah. I mean, Amy's always going to stand out there. She already took the pro card in the class. So you can end the overall going, Amy's, probably going to be the winner. But I think Rebecca looked really good there. I think her time will most definitely come looking at it as well. And as with Megan too, it's like when you look at the two physiques, you're going, give that a few years. That can be on par. But like Amy's complete and she's in the pro ranks now, and it's well deserved.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Megan looked class as well. Like so, there's a lot of potential here. It's great to see.
Let's go on to our men's physique here. So yeah, another strong lineup for men's physique there too. Like we'd said with Chris as well, he's won the last overall over in Ireland here in the first timers, and we talked about like polish in terms of like front to back alongside conditioning. Like Ethan has that front shot again is really good, and he has a look of men's physique, doesn't he? That facially, even the hair, it's kind of like flipping, what do you call it, surfer, kind of look about him. But it's just obviously from the turns to the
Yeah,
back, to me, that's what separates him and him and Chris. Chris is just more developed. He's older. He has that maturity to everything. Like to me, again, he's the winner here.
yeah. Nice, clean, like Ryan Terry-esque abs. That sort of nice, clean lines from the obliques into the rectus abdominis, and its presentation was really good, as I said as well. Tan was on point. You can even see it stamped out in the overall lineup at that point too. Yeah, deserved winner.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. And then we'll go on to our figure. Good figure lineup as well for the overall. Really was. Uh, Amanda looks great here, but Emma to me just looks a little bit more like overall polished. I think with Amanda in a few years' time, even a year's time, but adding to that because I believe she was kind of on the brink of athletic trained, it in some way throws confusion into what look are we going to come in with this year. Where I think now she knows that she's trained, she can come in and like full send in the trained figure if that's where she wants to go. Hesse again, beautiful wee physique, just a little bit more through the lower half. Emma to me there, it sort of it stands out in terms of the condition, like through everywhere. The quite a well put together package.
Yeah, I think like everybody, whenever you're so competitive, you're going to feel annoyed and a wee bit upset and stuff. And I've obviously felt that too. I tend to silently walk off into the hill though in those moments. But whenever you come out of this and you've invested all that effort, and like Mandy, she's got a great support network. Obviously, Ross coaching her and is her partner. That's a great team of people there as well. There's high expectation for her because the improvements that she's made, and I think that she's definitely improved so much this year. But as you said, even up until a few weeks before, she was asking me like, what category do you feel that I fall into? And I was happy to tell her what I felt, but I also then forwarded on to Nadia, just to make sure that we sort of were on the same page, and we were. So she's in. I think she's definitely in the right category now. She just knows exactly what the look is, and obviously what she brought to the universe. That's evident. She just went over there and smashed it. So I'm so happy for her, man, because this is a hard sport sometimes because there's a lot of knocks that are involved in it.
especially when it's close. I think that's when it stings more.
Yeah,
It's like, see if you're way off, you're like
yeah,
you accept it, but when it's close, you're like ah. But yeah, she's done. Like,
yeah,
listen, all three of them, I thought I've done really well. I think all three of them can go places with it. I think now that Amanda's got her category, she can go very very far. Yeah. So yeah, another again a really good strong figure lineup. Really good strong figure lineup there.
yeah. I
And
thought Hesse actually stood very, very well. I wasn't sure she was going to have the ability just because she's really new to the sport. She doesn't have the same sort of maturity maybe in the muscle. But whenever she went on, um, there was like some of the other judges were saying like you were drew to her a little bit at the same time in certain shots, and she had she looked incredible. She really had made done herself proud coming in through these shows because there was a lot of uncertainty coming into her first shows, and now she can look forward to the back end of this season, getting a wee bit of downtime, and then come back better in September.
confidence.
So here we go.
No, this was a lineup. This was one for the poster.
Yeah,
Really, it was like the
look at
stand
that.
like through every single competitor here. Really was they all had something. Like to me, this was the most contested one I've seen in a while. I found myself personally
Yeah,
going between is it Dara, is it Ben? Fenton stands very well. Like, they all stand well, but I was very split as to. I just went, I don't know, I don't know, because really with it. What was the reason then that went towards Ben in the end?
there's a couple of things. Ben's not really missing anything.
Yeah.
He's very well balanced. The presentation was very, very clean. He didn't miss. There was no shots that he looked. And this is what quite often whenever you go into the overalls, you look at because you're looking at really good physiques. Finton, Dara, Ben, John looked amazing in some shots. Um, for me, you have to almost like go, what is each of these guys missing? And the person that's missing the least quite often is the winner of that sort of show. And I felt like Ben just had strengths in side poses. His front shots were really, really clean as well. Never switched off, transitioned. The time was on point. It was just polished, man. For me, that's what the difference was. I'll touch on Finton. Finton, as I said, I feel like arguably if you were looking at it, front double is competitive along that lineup, no problem. Side chest, I love the side chest, but he can definitely improve that. Even looking at that pose, that back shoulder being pulled round a little bit more and just slightly lifted up. So he should almost be pulling that left elbow as if he's pointing it towards Ben rather than kind of pointing it towards the back of the stage. If you can see here. And that's just going to show the width that he actually has because he's a big, big boy with loads of density and loads of quality muscle there.
Yeah. I
And then I'll say about Dara. Dara, Dara looked class, and he had a ball on stage. You could just sort of see him. He was like relishing in being on stage beside the bodybuilders. Those open class guys. He posed well, transitioned well, condition held really good from the front. Was probably a little bit out muscled a touch from the back with the likes of Ben and stuff there, and that tends to be the deciding factor.
Yeah, I thought Dara's legs had flattened a little bit actually by the finals there. And that, like in my head, that's when I went, yeah, I think I would go with towards Ben. We'd hit a couple of shots, and then Ben hit his quads, and they were just like the whole way up to the hip. And I thought, right, okay, there you go. That was my deciding
So,
factor.
so this yeah, this was the point because I actually think in the category I'd said to Ben about a touch more condition would be advisable, and Ben came out harder for the overall. So it was definitely whenever he came out for the overall, it was an improved look. Notably, in my opinion, was an improved look. And like even whenever he went into the sort of side chest and really rotated into it, in real life, just seeing the sort of density and the detail come through the chest, nice balance through the shoulders, arms. There's nothing really missing there in that pose.
Class. Fantastic, fantastic show. And I actually like urge people, like, if you are watching this, even if you're not competing, is actually go to the shows because the difference it makes actually being there in person. See, 'cause we could all have an opinion from looking at pictures. And you find that anywhere, any show you go to, when you're there in person, it's vastly different what you're seeing in front of you sometimes in terms of level of condition and pop and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, class, James. Another another mammoth session in the books.
we got it done. It was long overdue, mate. But yeah, we got there in the end.
No, again, mate, I always appreciate your time. I know like, this has become a bit of a thing now, and hopefully long may it continue because, like we say, like the level of feedback I feel that you give, and then the level of detail when you're talking, in which you can break it down, it's second to none. It really is. So, there's when even if you don't necessarily always agree with your placing, when you listen to it broken down, there's always a very much an over you, James. There's very much a rationale as to there's a process of why you're judging the way you're judging. So and it's very important to do that if you're wanting to continue to get like better in the sport and your placings to, obviously improve as well. So I always appreciate the hours you put into that, mate.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, mate. And as said, like whenever we're giving this feedback, we are doing it, for the right reasons. Like ideally, and it's great to see whenever some of those guys that competed last year come back this year, and you can see that any critique that was given, they've taken it on board. Look, it always hurts that the chimp in the mind, like if somebody says anything negative about you, even if it's not necessarily bad, you kind of get your back up a little bit. But quite often, whenever you allow those emotions to settle, you can kind of take out, extrapolate the information that you need, and then that creates a direction that you should use. And then whenever you do those things, you come back the next year and you're better. And ultimately, it's the same that you do, Neil, as a bodybuilder. It's the same that I do as a competitive bodybuilder. Take the critique on and try to run with it and make sure that I'm improving those things for the following year. So hopefully, people can take things away from that tonight and be able to sort of run forward and improve moving forward as well.
Absolutely. So, guys, as always, please do actually give this a little like and a share as well. Tag yourselves in it and stuff like that and stick it in the stories. It really does help. It's something that I think we both, as hard as it is, as long as it is sometimes, we both very much enjoy doing and giving back to the bodybuilding community as well. It's been a class first half of the year. I think Irish bodybuilding is really firmly on the map when I've seen it, when I've been over at the universe, athletes placing highly, and there's a community buzz about this thing now that you literally do not get anywhere. And I can attest to that because I've been around England so much this year. You just don't get it anywhere. So I think we're all doing a good job over here. It's about getting behind each other, get behind everybody. Let's get this out there as well. Guys, we will be back. It'll be September before we're back doing the review shows, but I am going to keep the podcast running, get a few more guests, Irish guests and that back on because there's plenty of stories to tell from the last few months. But as always, appreciate your time, James, and I appreciate everybody watching as well, guys.